Yippee-ki-yay, you mother lovers. Welcome to Critical Mass, episode number 37, the podcast where three amigos in the ad business talk about movies that critics and audiences do not agree on. I'm Nick Honeywell. I'm here with my buddies Gris Griswold, Brian McCullough, and producer Ben. Say what's up, people.
Hey, this is Brian McCullough, and this week I watched 1963's Cleopatra, so you don't have to.
I appreciate you for that. This is Gris. What's going on?
All right, let's break the ice. Here we go. What movie was better than it had any right to be? I'll get started. I'm going with the film Upgrade from 2018. It is, I would say, arguably the best Blumhouse movie. Whiplash is pretty damn good, but Upgrade is very, very good too. It stars a bunch of people you've never heard of. It's about a guy with a brain chip implant, and he can use it to do all the superhuman stuff. Sounds pretty stupid. It's really good.
Yeah,
so,
it's very, very good.
Very good. So that's mine.
Better than Whiplash?
I like Upgrade more. Whiplash is probably the better movie.
I think Upgrade was better than I expected it to be, more than Whiplash was.
I think
Whiplash is the better movie. Yeah. For me, it's Godzilla -1. I don't care about Godzilla movies. I don't watch them. I don't seek them out. I haven't seen any of them since the Matthew Broderick one that came out in like 2002. I just don't. It's like Planet of the Apes and Godzilla. One. For some reason, I just don't connect with those franchises. And I watched this Godzilla -1, and I was absolutely blown away. I cried.
Wow.
I just like for the budget, what they did, and the story. Oh man, just way, way, way better than it could have or should have been.
Yeah, I'm really glad I saw that in theaters.
Me too.
Mine has to be, and this is going to be a nice callback to our last episode, a Paul Rudd classic, not really a classic, Ant-Man. I really appreciated that film, and I thought it was great. I just was not expecting anything from it, and it was more enjoyable than I thought.
We got a Marvel reference.
Mm-hmm.
It's rare.
I mean, it's Paul Rudd.
It's Paul Rudd.
Come on, he's great.
All right, we're going to spoil the movie we're talking about tonight. We also recommend, maybe watch the movie before you listen to the podcast with us. Maybe even watch the movie as you're listening to the podcast if you want to get real crazy.
If you want to do what we're doing.
Yeah, if you want to do what we're doing. But tonight we're going to talk about a film. It's from the year of our Lord, 1995. It's an action movie, and it's part of one of the most legendary and storied, and I would say sullied, film franchises of all time. And this movie is Die Hard with a Vengeance, or Die Hard 3.
In the hands of a mastermind of terror.
I want to play a game with Lieutenant McClane.
What kind of game?
Simon Says.
The path to revenge leads straight to John McClane.
If we don't do it, this guy says he's going to blow up another public place.
Why me? What has he got to do with me?
I have no idea. He just said it had to be you.
It's nice to be needed.
Simon Says, get to the payphone in Wall Street Station by 10:20, or the number 3 train and its passengers vaporize.
I'm not jumping through hoops for some psycho. That's a white man with white problems. You deal with it.
Bruce Willis, Jeremy Irons, Samuel L. Jackson.
Congratulations, you're still alive.
Yippee-ki-yay, mother... In a John McTiernan film, Die Hard with a Vengeance.
John McClane, NYPD. Are you all right?
Yes. Laundry day.
So let's talk about the numbers with this movie. It was expensive. This was an expensive movie, especially for the time.
It shows.
For 95. So it does. 90 mil for this bad boy.
I mean, what percentage of runtime do you think was shot on location? Like 75?
A lot.
Not a lot of studio.
So much more.
Not a lot of soundstage happening here.
Yep.
Expensive stuff.
I think it was worth it though, because this thing pulled in almost 370 mil. So more than 4x the budget. I'd say that's a hit.
Yeah, that made money.
That's a hit.
That's a big boy. Yeah.
Yep. So this film, Die Hard with a Vengeance, was directed by the same director as Die Hard 1, Mr. John McTiernan. He actually did not do Die Hard 2. That was Rennie Harlan. But John is back for the third one, and we are very glad he is. So in terms of John McTiernan films, he's done some really good stuff, all of it a while ago. Predator, of course, probably very, very high on the list. He also did Hunt for the Red October. Better than Crimson Tide, Brian, or not as good?
Crimson Tide is by far the best of those two.
Wow. I mean, I don't disagree. I don't know about the by far, but I do think it is better. Yeah, so other movies John McTiernan's done. He did Last Action Hero. I kind of like Last Action
Yeah, it was
Hero. I
okay.
thought it was fun.
Oh yeah.
Did Thomas Crown Affair. That's another one I kind of liked.
That's a banger. Yeah.
But the thing is, his last director credit was in 2003, so it's been a while. And the last film he directed, curious if you guys have seen this one, Basic, starring John Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson, kind of a military thriller. Not great.
Sounds about right for that time frame.
I feel
for
like I
those two
saw
guys.
that at like Hollywood Bar and Filmworks or something
Yeah, it's not great.
with a pitcher of margarita.
See, old Mr. McTiernan, he's been out of the game for a while. He got in a little bit of trouble. Went to the slammer for a little while. About 10 to 15 years ago. Guess he lied to the FBI or something. Probably shouldn't do that. But it was like some weird stuff. Like he was like illegally like wiretapping people, like producers he was working with on films. Weird. And then
Was Don Simpson involved?
lied about. I mean, he was definitely supplying the cocaine.
Yeah,
I mean, there is no doubt about that.
They were definitely hanging out.
But anyways, so all just kind of weird. So he went to jail or prison, I think, for a year or so. He declared bankruptcy. I don't know what he's really doing now. I hope he's doing better. So this movie was written by Jonathan Hansley, and this did not start as a Die Hard movie. There were, I guess, a lot of scripts that were considered for this movie. Here's just an interesting tidbit I pulled from Wikipedia that I'll just read. So one script that was originally titled Troubleshooter had McClane fighting terrorists on a Caribbean cruise line, but was rejected for being too similar to Under Siege. Troubleshooter was later repurposed as Speed 2 Cruise Control.
Oh, wow.
I was about to ask if that was related to Speed 2.
So there you go. So Troubleshooter, it made it.
Good old
as
Jason Patrick.
Speed 2.
Good try, buddy.
So this movie was based on a screenplay called, shocker if you've seen the movie, Simon Says. And, you know, this obviously could have been a great movie without any tie to the Die Hard franchise. And interestingly, when this movie was still Simon Says, and the screenplay had been optioned, the movie was originally supposed to star Brandon Lee before he tragically died in the accident on the set of The Crow.
This is some really great research, man. I'm loving it.
Yeah, thank you. It's just a little cursory Wikipedia, but hey, Wikipedia's good these days. You know, it's got a lot of good info. So cast on this one. Well, you've got our man Bruce Willis. How do you guys feel about Bruce Willis? Are we Bruce Willis fans? Or are we sort of ambivalent towards Bruce? How do we feel?
I love Bruce Willis, and I'm so sad. I'm so sad.
Just about the state of things with him.
Yeah.
And about how he just stopped. Not even that, but like he just started making shitty movies. Yeah. It's kind of like Nicolas Cage flirted with that, but then he also started making a bunch of amazing movies. So he like made shitty and amazing back to back, and Bruce Willis like only made shitty movies.
Yeah, he didn't
after,
get a chance to have that resurgence like some of those older actors.
It's really
did
sad
after
because
that.
he is so like with Die Hard. Like Die Hard is so special to me. Fifth Element so special to me. Like he's even like movies like The Jackal, like classic '90s sort of thrillers. So I love Bruce Willis personally. He's very charismatic. He's kind of the everyman, you know. He transitioned away from sort of the big like Arnold's and Sly's of the '80s, and he kind of ushered in the '90s action star who's kind of more your everyman.
He's
and
definitely
I like
he's not
him.
like this huge jacked dude, you know, like Arnold or Stallone or these guys, you know. So yeah, he's much more of an everyman.
Yeah, I absolutely cherish this man. Every movie he's in, I just adore it. So especially this one.
What about Looper?
Yes, I liked Looper.
Terrible
it was
third
good.
act.
Yeah.
Terrible third act.
Still,
bad.
good movie. You Ryan Johnson haters.
Cool movie.
So you've got Samuel L. Jackson. How do you guys feel about Samuel L. Jackson? I know how you feel about Samuel L. Jackson. Come on, guys. Let's be
Who would
serious.
ever not love him?
I know. And if you
Come
don't,
on.
you're off the podcast.
What's the
So-
best Samuel L. Jackson performance?
I mean, Pulp Fiction, probably.
What's the second best?
This is a pretty close second for me. I don't know, man. He fucking goes ham in this.
Yeah,
It's
this
great.
is a good one.
This is a good one.
This is pretty good.
I'm gonna.
I mean, Snakes on a Plane?
I low key love him in Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
God,
He's
yeah.
amazing in
And-
Jurassic Park.
Jeez.
And I'm sorry, but he's the funniest I've ever seen him in Django Unchained. I cannot get enough
He's
of
so
his
good in
character in
Django.
that.
He is kind of the rare person who can be like a very kind of a character actor, you know, and just have a small 10 minutes on screen, 5 minutes on screen, or also be like a main character, even a leading man kind of. I mean,
he's a national treasure.
I mean, he is a leading man in some movies for sure. So yeah, not a lot of people I think kind of toe that line.
he
but he does.
He is what brought this movie up. I haven't said my rating yet, but he is what brought this movie up from one category or one tier to me to the next tier up.
Yeah, he's great.
Not to mention just the whole Split franchise or Unbreakable.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You've got Jeremy Irons. How do you guys feel about Jeremy Irons?
Well, that one's a little tougher. That's a little tougher. Unfortunately, I'm gonna forever compare him to Alan Rickman.
Yeah,
and he's PMAR. I'm sorry, it's poor man's Alan Rickman.
Ooh,
That's rough.
I know
That's a little rough.
No,
Yeah.
he didn't do it for me in this movie. He really didn't.
It's
He-
so
he-
perfect that he's his little brother in this franchise,
Right.
though, isn't it?
He just didn't hold a candle, though. He just. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but the villains lacked in this movie.
You've also got Colleen Camp. How do you guys? I'll stop.
Why was she in this again?
Graham Greene. There's not many other people in this film that you've probably heard of. So, quick refresher about our criteria for the movies we talk about here on Critical Mess. Movies got to be fresh with audiences and rotten with critics, or vice versa on Rotten Tomatoes, and the disparity has to be like 20% or so. So, on Rotten Tomatoes, Die Hard with a Vengeance is at a 59% with critics and 83% with audiences. So this one barely made it. 1%. One more point and it's fresh with critics. So, but we really wanted to talk about this one.
Yeah.
So, and it, and the people love it. 83.
I can't wait till we're so big that we're influencing people's scores.
Oh yeah. Well, I think that's already starting to happen. Clearly.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you not been watching the?
Our one listener.
have you seen the score Blade lately? I mean, it
I
just goes up and
Through
up
the
and up.
roof.
Yeah.
Through the roof.
So let's get into this. First exposure to this film that came out in 1995. So it's been out for a while. So when did we first see this, and how many times have we seen this over the years?
I remember seeing the trailer for this movie a lot on TV and for other movies. I don't know why, but I didn't see the movie. I don't think I was into Die Hard as a 13-year-old. I think it hit me a little later. But so I didn't see it right away, but I do remember the trailer. I remember there's like these indelible scenes, like the one where he's like in the mud puddle, and just New York, man. Just New York is so, I don't know. It's in my mind when I think of this movie, and this movie's in my mind when I think of New York. They're kind of connected to each other. I guess it was formative as a 13-year-old. But I maybe saw it 5 years later, and I've seen it maybe 3 times.
Okay. Yeah, I'd say, I was probably 8-ish years old, and I have a lot of older brothers and cousins that let me watch a lot of just R-rated movies when I was too young, and this was definitely one of them. We would sneak this out of my uncle's house from their VHS collection so we could watch it.
Which uncle?
Steve and Mike. Thanks, guys.
Uncle Steve.
Uncle
I have
Steve.
an Uncle Mike too. What is going on right now?
I do too.
Do you too? What is
Wow.
that? This is just.
I got Uncle Steve on my dad's side, Uncle Mike on my mom's side.
Dang.
all three of us have an Uncle Steve,
and Uncle Mike.
What is going on? On this
Whoa.
planet?
Those are good stats for the.
This is definitely a simulation, guys. They just forgot to name like the people like different names. Okay, I definitely didn't see this when it came out. It's probably in whatever, like 5th grade or 6th grade. Certainly wasn't allowed to see this, but I saw it definitely probably first half of high school. I was, I saw the first Die Hard movie, I think probably when I was in 7th or 8th grade. And for a little context, Die Hard is my favorite film of all time. So that's kind of important to note here. So obviously I was pretty hyped to see the third one, Die Hard with a Vengeance. I've probably seen this movie more than I've seen any other movie we've talked about on this podcast.
Really?
And
More
maybe
than
even
Blade?
by a fair bit. I would say, yes, I've definitely seen it. Now, it's just been out for longer, than Blade, I would say.
Not much longer, but yeah.
Not much
yeah,
longer,
that's
true, but a
surprising.
few years. And I would say, this is just, I remember buying the Die Hard box set DVDs, right when that came out, and just watching this movie over and over and over again.
That silver metallic presentation is awesome.
Oh, yeah. Still got it. And I played the video, like Die Hard Trilogy video game and on PS1. So I was just all about this movie and this series. And I would say, to put a number on it, I would say I've watched this movie start to finish, I would say 10 times probably, at least. And I've seen bits and pieces of it a million other times. So many, many times.
Man, I think I've seen this 30 plus times. I'm not even exaggerating.
Wow.
I've seen this on repeat so many times. It's hands down the number one film on our list of movies we've done.
For you?
The ones that I've seen.
Oh, that you've
Or
seen.
I've seen that many times.
Yeah,
over.
this is probably one of the lowest for me that I've
Really?
seen. And Die Hard is one of my favorite movies as well. And I've seen that one 10, 12 times. And Die Hard 2 I've seen twice.
I've never seen it.
And Die Hard 3 I've seen. How
Never seen
How
two.
wait a minute.
Wait.
I don't know how I just completely skipped
How have
two.
you seen Die Hard 3 30 times?
I have no idea.
And
Probably
you've
because it was
never
just
fucking seen Die Hard 2.
probably because it was
That
not
is-
on repeat as much as this in the 90s. Like 2 was just not on
That
cable
blows my
and
mind.
on.
You
know
never
what I mean?
wondered? You never thought, man, this movie that I've spent 98
I just
hours of
didn't.
my life on.
I didn't hear enough about it, and I was like, I've already seen 1, and I fucking love 3.
Okay.
So
He's
it's
a
kind
John
of hard.
McTiernan
He likes
purist.
McTiernan.
And he
Yeah.
he
Hey,
refuses
exactly.
to watch a Die
Yeah.
Hard that's not directed by him.
Yeah,
That's
You know?
probably wise, actually.
All
that's
right.
why. Because people say that. People say things like that.
You guys want to rate this? Rate this one?
Yes.
Brian, do
Ooh,
it.
Hold on. We got Gypsum Malort on the line.
I know.
Oh, whoa.
Well, so we've got this horrendous anti-sponsor here called Jepson Malort. I apologize to all my Chi-Town brethren, but I have made a promise to the group here that if either of us have the exact same rating, I'm going to go ahead and chug some of it. And I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen based on all this preamble. I can tell that no one's on my same. So I'm going to go 55. So in my sort of, criteria here, a 0 to a 20, I say I hate it. 20 to a 40, I say it's a bad movie. 40 to a 60, it's enjoyable. 60 to an 80, it's good. And 80 to 100, I would recommend it. So this movie is upper tier enjoyable for me. And I'm going to just kind of say, I think a couple of reasons why it didn't hit me nearly as hard as the first one is because even the first and the second sort of developed this sort of Die Hard canon, like how you do a Die Hard movie. It's got to be Christmas time. It's all in a single location. There's kind of clever use of sort of subverting technology to sort of figure out how to sabotage something. You got a little bit of a Home Alone feel to it. You've got this guy who's terrorizing people in like a building or an airport or whatever. This movie didn't have any of that. And I didn't knock the movie just for that because it's okay to trudge new ground. I think that's good. As someone who loved The Last Jedi, I'd say that I actually applaud that a lot of the time. But it didn't have the Die Hard feel to me, being in New York in the summer, all over town. And then it didn't have any, I feel like it didn't have anything to say. It didn't have anything new to say. It didn't really need to exist other than just to be a big explosion, fun, enjoyable ride. And that's what it was, and that's what I liked about it.
Great analysis.
Thanks.
I'm right at an 81. So what is that? Just below audiences, I think. Audiences are 83.
Yeah, audience was
81. That's a low score for how much I love this movie, and I've seen it. It's very rewatchable. But on rewatch and just like being analytical, like being super aware of this and trying to break it down, there's some things we can pick apart for sure.
Okay.
But
that's a high rating.
It's still high, yes.
I'm going to rate this lower than I thought I was going to. I'm going to
99.
And 98 and a half.
No. I'm going to give it an 88.
88.
88.
Gypsum Malort lives again.
21 gigawatts. Okay.
Ben, what are you giving this?
Ooh, this is tough. I'm going to say 85.
Good
I
one.
really,
like it.
really, really love this movie.
I do too, yeah.
All right, you guys are going to have to back this up. Going to have to hear it.
Oh, I'm excited. And
Yep.
Brian, I will actually even start right now.
Yeah, go
Just
for it.
Quickly refuting two of the things that you said. I think that this movie very intentionally flips the LA winter on its head to be New York summer, which I think is smart.
That's cool.
I like that they did that on purpose. And I also think this movie has some things to say about some things. So
I look forward to that.
Yeah.
I look forward to that.
yeah, I do. Okay. Now what we're going to do is tell you that you're listening to Critical Mass. And tell you also that we have a sponsor tonight. What is our sponsor tonight? You might be wondering to yourself, what could these guys possibly be sponsored by? And it's going to come as a super shocker that we are now sponsored by Jepson Malort. Which no one really knows what it is. I think you can remove the shine off of a piece of plywood with it.
I think you can buff your car with it.
Yeah. Anywho, damn it! I said anywho. Just throw a bottle of that Jepson Malort right at my skull, somebody. Damn it. Anyway, no, we're sponsored by Old Elk. We still like Old Elk. It's the blended straight bourbon whiskey. It's ambrosial. It's peerless. It's not meek, but we're working on that.
I think it's buttery.
It's buttery,
Bruce Banner of Deer.
and we're still waiting on that bottle for new copy.
Yes.
Anyway, we're also hydrated tonight by Modelo. Thank you, Modelo, for keeping us hydrated. Okay, now what are we going to do? We're going to go to a segment where we talk a little bit about kind of what this show's all about, why critics and audiences don't agree on this movie. And Brian, you usually have a little insight into what these critics were thinking on this one. So tell us, what did they not like so much about this film?
I think critics were kind of middling on the film. I definitely don't think they hated it. I think that they saw it and they probably compared it to Die Hard 1 and said, oh, that wasn't as good. Even Die Hard 2, I think this had a lower critic percentage than Die Hard 2, but their consensus is Die Hard with a Vengeance benefits from Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson's barbed interplay, but clatters to a bombastic finish in a vain effort to cover for an overall lack of fresh ideas. So a little bit of unoriginality shade being thrown at this movie. Brian Lowry, Variety, degenerates into an improbable, confusing series of chases and an overly involved heist that takes far too long to set up. Guys, how believable was the gold heist?
Absolutely.
I loved how audacious it was and how long it took to set up, because if you haven't seen this movie before, it's taking you on some twists, man. Like you are not going to see that coming, like until it just whacks you with it on the second act. I think it's actually really smartly written.
Okay, I'll ask my question again. Guys, how believable was the gold heist?
It was super believable.
No, I'm kidding. I totally agree with you, Nick. I agree with that, but I just feel like that took a lot out of it for me, and that's kind of what Brian Lowry's saying here, is that like it's just it's so unbelievable that could happen, that you could get every police officer out of a city just like that.
I don't know. I just thought it was smart.
That's like I don't know. Like I said, yeah, I think it was a smart idea. Yeah, is it a little unbelievable? Okay.
You know, a little bit, but I think they explained a lot. I mean, it's hard, but I think they organically kind of put in little tiny tidbits about, why did they blow this up in this part of town? Why did they get this many cops to go look in the school areas of the city? Because they didn't want them in the financial district. So they blew this up over here, distracted them over there, and that just became, I don't know, I just thought they had a lot of little explanations that I thought were really organically placed perfectly to help drive you along this storyline.
I feel like especially in the 80s when cops are kind of gullible, there's not a lot of communication, that kind of stuff. I feel like it just was believable.
Yeah, it felt like to me like somebody said, hey, what if they stole all the gold out of the Federal Reserve in New York? And then they were like, yes. Okay, now figure out a way to write that. To me, it felt a little backwards. And it had vibes of The Dark Knight Rises to me. One of the reasons I hated The Dark Knight Rises was because the situation in that movie is every single cop in Gotham goes into a tunnel and then the villains just run the city. And it's like, that would never, and that to me, it was like the reverse of this. Like every single cop in the city leaves. So
can I also say, just weirdly, this movie like reminded me of Dark Knight in like the way that kind of the boat sequence at the end. Like I know it's a little different, but it's like a boat right in the harbor.
Right in the harbor, yeah.
Right in New York City, and you've got this kind of really dramatic event happening.
Kind of a cool setting.
With a cool bank heist, a lot of those pieces.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not digging it. I thought it took for me. It was way too unbelievable, and I couldn't abide. Dominic Wells, timeout. There's little wit or originality on offer. Just the familiar escalation of car chases and big bangs. Again, what do you guys think? How original was this movie? Just in terms of originality, how original was it?
Not super original, I guess, but I don't know, the whole concept of like the riddles, and you've kind of got this mastermind that's setting up our protagonist. I mean, yeah, that's been done before. I mean, sure, but I don't know. I didn't think it was like horribly derivative though.
The riddles felt kind of fresh. Yeah,
I think that's what held us together. Is like you have them going on this little journey over, like to one place to the next, to the next, to the next. It kept you very interested and very intrigued to learn what's going to be the next thing that they have to figure out. And
felt kind of like a candy bar to me. Like, ooh, shiny fun. You eat it and it just doesn't fill you up. It just doesn't do anything. There's nothing below the surface. It's just like, yeah, let's just go find some clever riddles and throw them in a movie and build this movie around it. I agree, it is intriguing, but it just doesn't have any like lasting impression to me. Peter Rayner, Los Angeles Times. The biggest set pieces don't build, really. They just pile up. Question, does this movie have momentum?
I mean, I think, yes. I think it has good momentum, and I think a lot of the sequences have really good momentum themselves. I think the momentum's a little uneven, for sure. I don't think it's perfectly maintained throughout, but yeah, I think it has good momentum.
Yeah, I think they got more efficient with this script. I think they could have had a little bit more bang for their buck, but they just went. I think it slowly but surely escalated one thing to the next. I think it was great in that sense.
Fair enough. Mark LaSalle, San Francisco Chronicle. An audience on the edge of its seat doesn't quibble about plot points. So, guys, do you excuse the plot in favor of shiny action?
I didn't have any big problems with the plot. I like the plot.
You like the plot?
Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
I didn't detect much of one. Roger Ebert, Chicago Sun-Times, last one. Basically a wind-up action toy, cleverly made and delivered with high energy. It delivers just what it advertises, with a vengeance.
I'll watch those wound-up teeth clamoring the whole way through.
I think Roger Ebert summed up my reaction to the movie. Cleverly made, delivered with high energy, delivers just what it advertises. Agree with all of that, 100%, and that's going to get a 55 from me. So I think critics are looking at it as just a dumb action movie, and I think they're rating it as such. I don't think they're looking at it like a really, really smart action movie or an action movie that has something to say. And believe it or not, there are a lot of action movies out there that you can make an action movie and actually make it about something rather than just making an action movie. And just making an action movie is never going to get out of my enjoyable 40 to 60 range. But if you make an action movie with something to say, something unique, something serious below the surface, it can still be fun, cheesy action, but it's also saying something. And there's other ones out there. I'll kind of read some later, but I think that's critics. That's critics. What about audience? I've got a couple audience here.
You got some?
But go
All
ahead,
right, we'll
yeah.
mix them in here.
I read about 300 of them. So
yeah, I've read a couple dozen. But yeah, Patrick M, 5 stars. Sweet. 4 exclamation points. I enjoyed this. 3 exclamation points.
Do you ever wonder?
So deep thought.
How do people choose how many exclamation points to put on something?
I mean,
how much of that is subconscious versus do you just hit that button until you feel like you've hit it enough?
I think that's how I do it.
That's kind of how I do it too.
Yeah. No commas, just exclamation points.
Do you suppose there's somebody out there who's so serious about their exclamation points that they sit there for 20 minutes going, do I do 5 or do I do 7?
There are articles out there that I've read where there's an X amount of exclamation points you should be putting in emails.
Okay.
So you should be
Interesting.
aware. Rakas K, 4 out of 5 stars. A Die Hard movie with an interesting plot and duo that I did not know that I want, but I needed it.
I like
you
that.
know what I mean?
I like that.
That's
I like
great.
They are a great duo.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Yeah. Redco VR, 2 stars out of 5. Jackson carried this movie. Now, do we believe that Samuel L. Jackson carried the movie?
Yes. 100%.
Okay.
Everything else in the movie was mediocre. Samuel L. Jackson was excellent.
Yeah, I think his chemistry, he was great. I can't say he was incredible in this film, but his chemistry with the dichotomy, like the back and forth, the bickering, the street smarts versus book smarts of Jackson versus John McClane, I think that was just the greatest part of this film.
Right.
Yeah. Clayton D, 3 out of 5 stars. The first half of this film is a real treat, thanks to something thrilling moments and great chemistry between its lead stars, but then later falls into a disappointing Hollywood trap. I can't disagree that the third act, or I don't know if you call it a fourth act. I don't know how many acts you would set this movie in, because there were, I think, 4 when I count them.
There's kind of like it depends. Well, are you talking about like the last 15 minutes being a different act?
Yes.
Oh, that was sort of like an epilogue.
And we may talk about this later, but it was also like a rewrite to go that direction in that last helicopter ending scene. But that, I think I can agree with that, but 3 out of 5 for Clayton D.
Oh, okay. So you're kind of you're reading all
over
5
the place.
stars,
Yep.
2 stars.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm not going to go one way or the other. This one is a 5 out of 5. Good movie. A lot of language though.
Yeah, I read that one.
So it's not bad.
A lot of language.
A lot of language. I think that's all I got. I think I'm trying to think of maybe one more.
I got some I think that are going to really get ruffle Nick's feathers here. Anonymous on February 25th, 2022 says, one of Bruce Willis's best movies he's ever done. My favorite out of the Die Hard franchise. Definitely 5 stars.
That doesn't make me mad.
This is someone's favorite of the Die Hard
I'm
franchise.
okay with that. This is a great movie.
So you would put how close is this movie to the first one for you?
It's 11 points off.
Really? It's not even in the same tier for me.
Well, how I can only go to 100.
What would you put?
No, I don't mean on a point scale. I just mean like you have like obviously Die Hard is your favorite movie.
Yeah.
Okay. And think of every other movie that's in that tier of like top movies. Are you putting this?
So Die Hard, if you
up
look at
there
my
with
top
that?
100 list, Die Hard 3 is on there. It's like it's in the top 50, I would say.
Oh,
Yeah.
have we checked to see?
I have
it?
Die Hard 3 in like
Yeah.
70-ish somewhere.
Yeah, it's in.
I don't have it on mine.
Is this on our?
Oh, our combined
Is this
list?
on a
Yeah,
combined?
yeah.
This is a little teaser for the audience
go.
as you guys
Oops,
listen
sorry.
on that we have a combined list of all of our top 100.
And so the thing is, I was actually a little. So I actually rated this movie, like I said, a little lower than I thought I would. So if I go back to my top 100 list, it might actually move down a little bit based on that 88.
Okay, it's not in our top 100.
Our cumulative top.
Cumulative.
It's not in our cumulative.
But
top
definitely
100.
in my
But
top
Nick and
100.
I both have it in our top 100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Nick's got it at 39, and Gris has it at 76, and you've got Die Hard 2 in yours as well.
I do.
Wow,
Yeah, more
okay.
toward the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is up there. Okay, yeah, you answered my question.
Do you have any other 3 movie franchises in your top 100? That's impressive.
Star Wars.
Star Wars?
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
you got all
right.
3. Okay. Dang.
Yeah. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting and there was a lot of that. I read that sample, but there was a lot that I was reading of people saying this is by far the best Die Hard movie. And I'm sorry, but that just blew my mind. Like, I
mean, it's definitely not. I mean, that's a wrong answer, but
I agree. Yes,
but-
thank you. It's a wrong answer.
But this is a good enough movie to where I'm not. That doesn't upset me.
Okay, sure. But it is a wrong answer. You're right. Another anonymous on January 20. Hey, he said it. I didn't. January 27th, 2021. I see the critics always score great films low because they think they are better than the audience. My opinion, go see this film. That didn't make a lick of sense. Did you hear that? Did you listen to that, Gris?
Yeah.
Just flaming
And
critics.
my brain
I
hurts
see the
listening to
critics
that.
always score great films low because they think they are better than the audience. So their logic here is because critics think they're better than the audience, the critics will wait and not review the film until 3 or 4 weeks after the movies come out, until they can see what the audience score is going to be, and then they rate it low. That's the dumbest ass thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, let's go ahead and make sure people know that critics are usually well before audiences or these movies even hit theaters.
Yeah.
That these people are seeing these films weeks before they come out.
Hey, Anonymous, I can tell you critics are not basing their ratings based on the audience ratings, you dumbass. Oh my gosh. That's what, and this is part of the 83 of this movie. Okay.
Just take a deep breath.
Another one, Anonymous, on September 4th, 2020. The second most intense depiction of the high-stakes world of professional hide-and-seek ever put to film. Unflinching and awe-inspiring. Near masterful documentary filmmaking.
Hide and Seek. Did they watch the same movie with Simon Says?
Documentary? This 5 out of 5 contributed to the 83 that this movie has. I'm just pointing that out.
Hey,
Just leaving
I
it
gave
there.
it 2 points lower than audience.
And finally-
I fucking love this movie.
Finally, Kyle E. My 4th favorite Die Hard movie.
Well, that guy needs to
Wow.
just tarred and feathered.
There's only 3 Die Hard movies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Jeez.
Okay, so there you go. There's just today's random selection of dumbass audience.
Goodness gracious. All right, this is Critical Mess. We are sponsored by Old Elk. We are hydrating with Modelo. And we are being masochistic with Jepson Malort.
I hope we do not open those bottles tonight.
So it's time for a segment called Flip the Script. Oh, sorry, Bennett. Oh, yes. Is that our Flip the Script? Is that our official
I think
sound?
so, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Sure.
I like
Yeah,
it.
I like
I'm into it. I'm into it. So this is the segment where, if we gave the film a good review, we talk about what we don't like about the film. And if we gave it a bad review, we talk about what we like. So I will get us started here. Obviously, I really like this movie, so I don't have a whole lot to say. I'll say one thing. I think and this is what it is, but one of the reasons my score was a few points lower, not in the 90s like I thought it would be, is I got a little bit bored. I've seen this movie so many times. I was just like, geez. I know exactly what's going to happen. I know
Any specific part that you got bored on, or just kind of just generally?
I think it really hit me in the scene where they get in the FBI van and they're talking with the two agents. And they're kind of giving him the, and they're kind of trying to interrogate.
And they're chewing on he's chewing on his glasses.
Is there the other weird guy in the very back corner of the van?
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
okay.
And he's
Yeah,
like
that's
the
kind
one
of
that
a
like
longer
spills
scene.
the bean. Like I was like, I know like every line in the scene.
Yeah.
Like I just, so I got a little bored. And that, like I said, that kind of is what it is. That shouldn't count against it, but it did. I thought some of the this is once again very minor, but some of the kind of the effects were kind of not great. Like some of the CGI, like the water and the aqueduct looked kind of bad. Some of the explosions were really good.
Oh yeah, I thought it looked pretty good.
I thought a couple of generally speaking, it looked pretty good. Maybe the train explosion was a little weird in a couple of shots.
That felt like a Universal ride.
Yeah. Generally speaking, that's a super minor complaint.
I think 2 contemporary movies with train accidents that looked better were Speed and The Fugitive.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. And then something I kind of brought up earlier a little bit, sort of uneven momentum throughout this movie, especially I think kind of toward the end of Act 2, start of Act 3. I think things kind of drag a little bit, and this is kind of a long movie to begin with. So, this movie could definitely have been a little tighter. 10 or 15 minutes less would have done good things for this movie. That's about what I got.
Can I ask you real quick? I don't want to put you on the spot, but Die Hard so you gave this an 88, right?
Yeah.
Die Hard, your favorite movie. What would you give? Would you give that 100?
I mean, I'm giving it a 99.
Oh, so there's is there any 100?
Well, no.
There's no 100.
Die Hard's on the top.
I'm not going to get. I don't think. I mean, to just say the
love
movie
that
is absolutely 100% perfect.
You've reserved a number for a movie that doesn't. Maybe it might exist.
It
one
could
day.
maybe exist someday. The perfect.
That's
perfect,
cool.
Perfect movie.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. Here's what I'm gonna do, guys. I gave it a 55. Okay. I enjoyed the movie. A lot of that 55 came from not my critical analysis of the movie, but a lot of that did come from my enjoyability. So I'm really combining.
Okay.
So if I could split them out, enjoyability would be like an 80 and critical would probably be more like a 40. Okay. So I don't know. I'm coming around 55 for both. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put my critical hat on and I'm going to flip the script positive. So I'm going to say I did not like this movie from a critical perspective. And I'm just going to say one thing. I'm going to try to keep all my flip the scripts from now on to just one thing because I think that it can get kind of confusing and repetitive if I just start listing a bunch of stuff. All right, so Brian McCullough did not like the movie critically or didn't love it critically. Flipping it positive, here's my super positive thing to say about this movie. It is so simple and efficient. It doesn't get bogged down by love interests, fluff, a bunch of confusing storylines, time skips. I mean, the whole thing takes place in 6 hours, and it's just straight up action from beginning to end. Really, really well done movie. I just think that good job not trying to add a bunch of crap into this movie.
Well said. It's lovely.
So you're going to flip negative, Gris?
I'm going to go negative. Yeah, I think there's a lot going on in this movie, but I think it's just pure eye candy for me because every scene is enjoyable. But I have to dock a bunch of my points because I'm at an 81. And I think, out of enjoyability, this is a 95 plus because it's just so much fun. Like there's so much to look at. There's so many things to notice and like catch on to. But that third act, as soon as they get the gold and they start to disappear, like they're all cheering and celebrating or whatever before McClane comes back with the helicopter, that I turn the movie off almost every time from that point on. Like I don't know why that's
bad last 15 minutes.
It is just god awful. I have no idea why it's there. I don't know. I mean, it's fine. It's like I remember I watched this movie 3 or 4 times this week, just in the background, on and off, like just to kind of break it down. But that over and over again, I would just turn it off at that point.
It goes off the rails, man. I mean, it just goes so unbelievable. You got Bruce Willis with a pistol versus a helicopter with a spotlight shining directly on Bruce Willis's face and a machine gun trained on him, and he shoots and wins.
But
that doesn't happen.
You totally have forgot the most important thing.
What?
It's John McClane.
It's John McClane. He's superhuman.
Well,
he could blow up the whole earth with that bullet if he wanted to. He's John McClane.
I disagree, and here's why. Perfect situation. Remember when he walks across the glass in Die Hard 1?
Mm-hmm.
Do his feet get cut?
Yes.
Thank you. That's all I'm going to say.
I mean, he can bleed, man, but
yeah,
he doesn't lose.
I mean, he's
literally bleeding.
Did you just say he didn't bleed?
Not against that helicopter. You need to pay attention to that helicopter scene. It is ridiculous, and I think that goes to what you're saying. You're saying the last 15 minutes, and that
it's
is just
rough. I mean, yes.
He's just standing there. He can't even see. He's got a spotlight in his face with a machine gun trained on him, and he just shoots and wins. Like, what the fuck? It was terrible.
That was a great shot.
Being John McClane as he is,
he was super. He figured it out. He figured out how to take him down. Shoot the wires.
Sorry, but that put John McClane from an everyman to a superhero, and I think that took away from the allure and the mystique of a John McClane to me.
And I hope everyone is crystal clear on what just happened, because we really tried there. Everyone, trust us. Another segment. It's a brand new segment. we like to keep calling it brand new because we don't have a newer one. And this segment's called Marquee Mess, and it's the segment where we rename the film. And frankly, I was pretty busy today. So I have a couple No, I've got a couple for us. And I'll just get us started, guys. I'll get us started. How about fucking Die Hard number 3, motherfucker? All right, there's
perfect.
one.
It's perfect.
I do have a question. Why wasn't it called Die Hard 3? Does anybody know?
I don't know. I actually call it Die Hard 3.
I
but
call
that
it
is,
Die Hard
but
3
that's
too.
that is not what it's called.
Because Die Hard
Right.
2 is called Die Hard 2, Die Harder.
Right.
And Die Hard 3 is just Die Hard with a
that's the
vengeance.
name of Die Hard 2?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Die Hard 2,
that.
Die Harder. Welcome to
Chris,
the 90s.
I know.
I
You
didn't
gotta watch
know
this
that.
movie, man.
I had no
It's actually
idea
like
that
really
was-
good. It's in my top 100 movies of all time.
It's very Christmassy. It was a very Christmassy vibe.
It is
It's
very
good.
Christmassy.
It's even more of a Christmas movie
Now,
than Die Hard
all
1.
I know about it is like people just talk about it. Just it's not worth it. Go watch one
those
or
people
go
are
have fun with
fools.
3.
Well, Gris, I'll to be clear, Die Hard 1's a 5-star for me on
Okay.
Letterboxd. Die Hard 2 is a 2-star for me on Letterboxd. Die Hard 3 is a 2.5-star to 3-star on Letterboxd. And the other fictional Die Hards that let's pretend like they don't exist are like 1 and below.
And you've seen all of them?
No, I just saw Live Free or Die Hard and I
Okay.
almost gave up on life. How about Truce with Zeus?
Oh, I know. I've got a Zeus rhyme too.
Oh, dang it. Okay.
No,
What's
that's
yours?
good. That's good. Mine is Bruce and Zeus get loose.
Ooh, Bruce.
I love
Perfect. I got one. Where the gold at?
Ooh, I like it. Yeah, gold. Good. I've got a gold one too.
Oh,
Here we
okay.
go.
What is it?
Iron and gold.
Iron and gold. Jeremy Irons?
There you go.
Yeah, man. Look at you.
Yeah, and all the guns. Right.
All right, I got Rush Hour 4, Dump Truck Derby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I got nothing. I got Simon Says. I don't have anything great.
Well, that's.
I'm trying to think of these, but I have like I
It was
thought of
actually
nothing
called.
this week.
Actually, Simon
and
Says
I
is
could
good.
not think of better movie titles, and it's just that's all I could think of was Simon Says this week.
That's why you're not a writer.
I'm not a writer.
That's okay. Yeah, yeah. You don't get the big bucks for writing. That's fine. All right, this one is not that good, but I think it has a really good rationale. So let me sell it to you.
Okay.
Let me sell it to you. It's called No Reserves, and here's why. So they're taking all the money from the Federal Reserve, right? So there's that. Plus, there's like not any reserves throughout the movie to back up these two guys throughout this
Ooh,
heist
yeah.
situation. Like there's no reserve
Because the cops are all gone.
The cops are all gone, and the idea of having like no reserve means like committing this really audacious act, right? If you do something without reserve, robbing the Federal Reserve, maybe.
Yeah.
So it's not a great.
Well, it's
title.
almost too clever.
I know. There's too much great
It's too
rationale.
genius. You're like a
I know.
savant.
Way
Well,
too
thank
smart
you.
for a 90s action flick.
Yeah.
I'll set mine up
Also
too
for
then.
this segment.
You know how the movie starts with Bruce Willis having that hangover. So this whole day is like he's got a hangover the entire day.
And what does he say? He says something about spoiling a perfectly good hangover.
Yeah. So I had The Hangover Part 4, Games, Trains, and Automobiles.
I like that. Good.
Games.
Games. Yeah. With the riddles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to get somewhere with this one, but I don't think I quite did. But I'll say it anyways. Aspirin the movie.
Aspirin the movie. I mean, that tracks.
I feel like yeah.
Yeah. I got Escape from New York through an aqueduct.
Yeah, well, that's accurate. This is my last one. Wet, hot New York summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Good reference.
And this is my last one, Bangs of New York.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
New
That's
York.
good. Yeah, good.
The explosions look great.
We did it.
We did
All
it.
right, we did it, guys. That's a high pressure segment. Yeah.
I'll
we
come
need
in
a
hot
little-
next
we need a
week.
sound
I'll
bite
come in
for
Do we
that.
have a
next
sound for Marquemas?
No.
We need one.
played this last.
No.
Let's flip the script. Yeah.
Well, no, that was.
Oh, it's a different key. It's a different key. Yeah. Now, Ben, let's just go for a new sound.
Producer Ben coming in hot.
I have minor key and major key
I see.
labeled.
We'll work on that.
All right, you're listening to Critical Mess. I'm here with Brian. I'm here with Gris. I'm here with Ben. And I am Nick. And we're talking about Die Hard with a Vengeance from 1995, sponsored by Modelo and Old Elk, the ambrosial whiskey of choice. Okay, now it is time for Tharks. Tharks. This is the segment where we very, very, very quickly talk about themes and arcs. Let's go, Brian.
Let's talk really quick. Let's just go talk really quick. Okay, here we go. Tharks, themes and arcs. Yeah, not a lot.
All I got is revenge. That's it.
Yeah.
Revenge. Buddy cop movie. I don't. How do you go any further than
I mean,
that?
Samuel L. Jackson becomes less racist.
I know. That's the one I have is overcoming racial biases, and it's a minor theme
from a pretty extreme beginning to this film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, have we talked about that yet?
Let's just put it this way. No, we haven't.
Okay.
Would you
Maybe
would you like to talk about that sign
I
he
would,
was wearing?
I would love to talk
Let's
about
not
this.
talk about that
because
sign.
I had no idea what this sign said until I was a little bit older because I didn't understand it. And then I watched it so many times on cable and it was blurred out or it said something different.
Sure.
Or it said,
I do
I'm
think,
like,
on cable, they actually like put a different word on there.
Yeah.
I remember that.
And that was good filmmaking because you even as an adult, you don't know what the sign says until he's been wearing it for a few minutes
Right.
and they finally reveal it. I thought that was good.
I thought that was great.
We might hot pocket a little bit about this.
Let's put it this way. I think that Zeus starts out saying, we don't trust white people to his kids, right? And by the end, he's strapped to the top of a bomb saying to John McClane, just go, just save yourself. Like he's sacrificing himself.
Yeah.
That's a good arc. That's a good, strong arc. A minor one is that McClane arcs from being a drunkard to calling his wife after a year of silence. I guess how much can you arc in 6 hours of runtime? But there is somewhat there.
Yeah, that was that was not great.
And then I actually thought that there were a lot of people that were going to sacrifice themselves in this movie. There were 4 people who were going to lay their lives down for other people. There's obviously John McClane, he may be putting many, many, many other lives at danger, but at least he's trying to save lives. Then you've got Zeus, who's putting his life down for John McClane.
You got Charlie.
Then you've got Charlie, the bomb diffuser. He was epic.
Love Charlie.
That guy was amazing.
Love
He
Charlie.
really grew on me, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to defuse this bomb even if it kills me to save these kids.
It's when he hears that the kids are still in the building.
Yeah.
He's like, "Fuck it, I'm staying."
Yeah,
it's so badass.
He's the third one, and then Joe's the other one. He's the one that runs into the school to save the kids that are in there too.
Joe.
So there's a lot of
his partner
and the partner. Yeah, I didn't have her name.
Yeah.
But a lot of self-sacrifice in the movie. That was a strong one for me. That's it. That's all the Tharks I got.
Self-sacrifice. That's a great one.
Yeah.
Nice. Good find.
Yeah, I think he tharked the Thark out of that Thark.
Tharks a lot.
Yeah. Thark you. Not time for that yet.
Oh,
Or is it time for that yet?
No.
Actually, it actually is.
That was not an official.
I'm gonna hit the head before we get there.
I was trying to.
All right. Now, it's time to go to Brian's Corner. That's the segment where Brian does whatever the fuck he wants.
Welcome to Brian's Corner, ladies and gentlemen. So this is the third part in a franchise. Did you guys know that?
Sure did.
Well,
Oh, wow.
tonight's category is called Part 3. We're going to do a bracket, guys. We're going to do a bracket on Part 3s of franchises. Okay? There's some really, really great ones out there and some really, really terrible ones out there. So I made 2 brackets. One, the best Part 3s, and one, the worst Part 3s. And I want to see what's the worst Part 3 and what's the best Part 3. I seeded these because it's Brian's Corner, but I'm going to let you guys decide who wins each round, just like we did when we did, was it Anti-Heroes, I think? But this one I actually did 16 seeds, so it's like actually going to work.
Who won that anti-hero bracket, by the way?
It wasn't Batman like it should have been. It was like...
It was the man
with no name.
No name.
Man with no name.
As it should have been.
And it was, I think you and I were unanimous on the votes
right.
all the way through.
Which
United.
There's going to be a similarity because that Good, Bad, and the Ugly is a Part 3 of a franchise. So
Let's do. Oh, boy.
do you guys want to start the best or the worst? Worst. Okay, let's do worst. All right. So keep in mind, the higher the seed in this, or I'm sorry, the lower the seed in this, the worse it is. So the number 1 seed in this category is like the worst Part 3 of all time.
Got it.
And the number 16 in this category is like
Yeah.
the
Not the worst.
16th worst of all time. Yeah. Okay. All right. So number 1 seed, The Matrix Revolutions, and versus the number 16 seed, The Hangover Part 3.
I feel like the Matrix is just gonna Matrix.
It is a 116,
Oh, shit.
so
Producer Ben, it's your moment.
Damn it.
this has got
I was
to
too
be the
busy
Matrix,
watching
right?
the movie.
I was gonna say, yeah, obviously that's the right answer, but how is that not just gonna sweep this? But anyways,
Well,
let's see. We'll
hey,
see. We'll
it
see.
might not.
We'll see.
It might not. We'll see.
We'll see.
Gris, do you agree?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you guys? If you haven't seen one of the movies, let me know, and then I'll cast the vote for us because I have seen all of these.
Okay.
Hangover 3 was pretty bad, though.
Yeah, it was very
Yeah,
bad.
it was bad.
And keep also another part of this, guys. It's not just how bad the movie is, but how much of a departure from the first 2 is it? And you'll know this on this next one, and there's a reason this is seeded number 2, The Godfather Part 3. Now I know The Godfather Part 3, you could say it's a good movie, but think about 1 and 2, and then go into 3. Think about the difference there, okay? And we're gonna get The Godfather Part 3 versus Scream 3, the 15 seed Scream 3. Which one do we think is the worst? Most biggest letdown Part 3.
Can I say something crazy?
Go for it.
Never seen Godfather Part 3.
Okay.
And Godfather Part 1 and 2 are both in my top 5 films of all time.
I think that answers the question.
Yeah,
I can't. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
I think you have just answered the question.
I watched 1 and 2
terrible.
as of recently in the last couple of years, and then I have seen bits and pieces of 3, but not the
Ben,
whole thing.
have you seen it?
No.
Okay. I haven't either. April.
I thought you said
You've seen all 3 Godfathers.
You just said you prefaced
just
this
said
with
you
saying
watched
you
them
watched all of them.
I know. This is the one exception.
the one exception.
The one.
How much worse was the 3 than 1 and 2? Like just a lot or a little? Pretty bad?
I feel like the end redeemed itself.
Okay. So we'll still say that.
Okay.
I guess we should. Okay, I'll
1
watch.
and
I'm gonna
2
watch 3. I'm
are
gonna
just
watch
so
3.
good.
I mean, we all just need to watch it.
Wow, she just put us to shame. Okay,
Yeah.
But I also would say that speaks to something, that 2 of the best movies of all time that we all agree on, and the third one we just don't even watch. I think that speaks to the zeitgeist of how bad that holds up compared to the other 2. So we're putting that's moving on. Terminator 3.
Rise of the Machines.
Yep, that's the 3 seed versus the 14 seed Spider-Man 3.
Terminator.
Which one's worse or better?
I actually haven't seen Spider-Man 3, but I know Terminator was terrible.
We're in the worst. We're in the worst bracket here, Gris. Think about Terminator 1 and 2, and then think about Terminator 3.
It's hard because I don't like to go back and think of the first 2 to compare.
But that's what I want us to do. We're talking about
that's tough.
See if you can every
How to
time
ruin a
think about the
franchise.
first 2 and then think about the third one. That's what I want us to do here.
Yeah, Terminator 3.
All right, 3 seed. Moving on. Next one, 4 seed. The Dark Knight Rises versus the 13th seed Blade Trinity. Which one is the bigger letdown of the part 3s?
I definitely haven't seen Blade Trinity, and it's 100% that's the correct answer.
Have you?
Blade Trinity.
Okay.
I actually I had fun with that movie, even as crappy as it is.
Which one?
Blade Trinity.
Okay.
Like, it was goofball. It was super stupid, but I laughed at it a lot. So it's hard for me.
What about The Dark Knight Rises?
It's hard. The
Compared
Dark
to The
Knight is a fucking beautiful film.
Right. So
Brilliant.
now-
Dark Knight
But-
Rises has some good
But
things.
Batman Begins was not. I'm sorry, but it is not as good as everyone says.
Okay, but go to
to launch an entire franchise.
Just
but
think about this. You watch Batman Begins, then you watch The Dark Knight, Heath Ledger. Holy shit. Then you watch The Dark Knight Rises. Are you disappointed?
not as much as I would
And I have
be.
to say,
Not
between
as
Blade-
much as I would be for no.
Okay.
Between Blade 2 was weirdly really, really good. Like, really good. And like I said, I haven't seen Blade 3, but
I'm
know.
shocked
I
you've
already
not
know.
seen Blade 3.
Yeah, I'm
Are you,
shocked,
though?
too.
I am
Jessica
shocked.
Biel is killing vampires with a fucking iPod in the preview. Like, I'm not going to go see
Well,
that.
Yeah, but you love Blade.
Yeah, but I'm not going to...
What do you think, Ben?
It's definitely Blade Trinity.
So you guys all were not that disappointed by The Dark Knight Rises?
The Dark Knight, the opening sequence of Dark Knight Rises was fucking incredible.
I'm
With
sorry.
the
The
airplane.
Dark Knight is the movie that I think is the standalone film in that franchise for me
Yeah.
because I cannot look at 1 and 3.
And I was so disappointed when I saw the third one because the second one was so
What did you think
good.
of
Yeah,
Batman
definitely.
Begins?
No,
I
You're
don't
not
care.
wrong.
All I'm saying is when you're on that journey and you watch a movie and then you get to
And
the next
it
one,
goes up and it goes up,
I
up,
just
up,
was
up, up.
so disappointed.
you're not
All right,
wrong.
Blade Trinity it is.
It,
We got
it
our
is.
first
It is
upset
not
here.
as good. Don't like.
Well,
we're not
not
saying
even-
that,
not
but
even
like,
close.
it is just like it's not. It's not as bad of egregious of an error as Blade Trinity.
All right, I'll defer to you guys. Obviously, I seeded these, so I disagree, but I'll give you guys the win there. Blade Trinity moves on. Now, the 5 seed, The Last Skywalker, the third in the new trilogy, The Last Skywalker, versus the 12 seed, Back to the Future
Rise
Part
of
3.
Skywalker.
The Rise of Skywalker, The Last Skywalker.
Wait, what?
The Rise of Skywalker is what I meant to say. The Rise of Skywalker.
I was like, wait a minute.
Chris and I looked at each other. We're like, wait.
Part
What?
10.
We saw that one together, didn't we?
Yeah, we
Part
did.
10. Yeah.
Yeah, The Rise of Skywalker or Back to the Future Part 3, which is the bigger?
Skywalker.
Whew. Back to the Future 3 is. Whew.
I had fun.
It's not bad.
You don't like some Wild West Back to the Future?
Yeah, I
action?
liked it.
I did.
It's not as good, but like it's not as big of a letdown to me.
Yeah.
It's not as big of a letdown. No.
Okay. All right. The Rise of Skywalker. Thank you,
The
Chris, for
Rise of
correcting me there.
Skywalker.
The 5 seed moves on. 6 seed, Beyond Thunderdome. Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. It's a third Mad Max. Versus the 11 seed, Home Alone 3.
I'm going Home Alone 3 there. I kind of like Beyond Thunderdome.
I haven't even seen the third Mad Max, and I would pick that over Home Alone 3.
I have seen it. It's
Is it egregious?
horrendous, but I can see an argument for Home Alone 3 there. Those were hard ones to seed. They were both so disappointing and so much worse than the
they're
first two.
both.
We're going Home Alone 3,
I have a
guys?
lot more fun with Thunderdome.
Okay, Home Alone
Lot
3 it
more
is.
fun.
I
Tina
haven't
Turner.
seen
You're a
it.
big Tina Turner fan. All right. Seed number 7, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. Seed number 10, Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift.
Is Secret of the Ooze 2 or 3?
shit.
2. Oh, that's 2.
Tokyo Drift is a beautiful.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
Tokyo Drift is a fantastic film.
Tokyo
I-
Drift
no,
is a
yeah.
brilliant film.
TMNT,
So-
TMNT 3 is the one where they go to like Shanghai or something.
Yeah,
or
but
something.
they time travel
Oh.
to China, ancient China,
the
which
time
I
travel.
do
Yeah, that's
love
right.
and
That one-
appreciate that movie for a lot of reasons. But
Okay.
I mean, Tokyo Drift is a classic.
Tokyo
so-
Drift is a
We're
classic.
going Home Alone 3 then, huh?
Or
I'm
Turtles.
sorry. I looked above. Turtles moving on.
Turtles.
7 seed. One more here. The 8 and 9 seed. Ooh, this is going to be tough. 8 seed, Beverly Hills Cop 3. The 9 seed, Alien 3.
That is a tough one.
That's a
That
tough
is a
one.
because I
tough
kind of like both of those movies.
What was Alien?
Which one
3?
was the bigger
that-
letdown?
Was Alien 3
Alien 3
Resurrection?
was the bigger letdown, but that movie
Alien
gets a
3
bad
was
rap. That movie's not as bad as people say. David Fincher, man,
Yeah.
it's not bad. It's like a prison movie.
But
It's,
go-
in there-
wait,
it's
all
a
right,
weird
wait.
movie.
Situate-
but it's not that bad.
Situate your mind with Alien and then Aliens.
Yeah.
And then how do you feel about Alien 3?
Yeah, Alien is to me is the right answer.
Somebody remind me what Alien 3 was, because I know I've seen
It's
all the
not
Alien
Alien
movies.
Resurrection.
It's
Resurrection
not
was
Resurrection
4.
then. Okay.
Yeah, it's like it takes place in a prison.
A
There's only
prison,
one alien.
That's right.
There's
okay.
only
all
one
right.
alien.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And then think about Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2, and then you go to 3.
Beverly Hills Cop 2 is
Yeah, it's okay.
I
Resurrection.
actually might even like 3 better.
or Alien 3.
All right, Alien 3, boom. Here
Yeah.
we go. Okay, this will be a lot quicker here. We got the 1 seed, Matrix Revolutions. So far, the most disappointing of the 3 versus the 2 seed, The Godfather 3.
I've not seen Godfather 3, so I got to go with the other one.
Yeah, it's
Nick?
gotta be.
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, let's do it. Now we got the 3 seed, Terminator 3 versus the 13 seed, Blade Trinity. Which is the more disappointing?
I'm going Blade.
T3, Blade
I was
3.
so disappointed by
No,
that
T3.
even existing.
T3 was way worse.
T3? Okay, Ben.
Yeah.
It's got to be T3.
Ben, listen to your
Think about
conscience.
Terminator 1 and 2, and then think about 3.
They ruined Blade, Ben.
But it's Terminator.
You haven't
But it's
seen Blade
Blade.
3. You haven't seen Blade 3.
Exactly.
Blade doesn't change in that movie. He is the same in all 3 movies.
Gris, I don't care.
Terminator
It's the
3,
surrounding
Terminator 3 is
characters.
so much worse than the first 2 than Blade 3 is than the first 2. So I'm just going to mark that.
What do you think, Ben?
Terminator.
Yeah,
All
good answer.
Sorry.
All right, we have
It ruined my franchise. I love
It ruined
Terminator.
it.
Terminator 2 was one of the best movies.
All right, we got the 5 seed, The Last Skywalker versus the 11 seed, Home Alone 3.
Skywalker.
Home Alone 3.
Home Alone 3.
All right.
Home Alone 3 also ruined my franchise.
Home Alone-
Like, I loved Home Alone 2, Lost in New York so much.
Home Alone 3 was a far greater cliff that fell off than the Star Wars, for
They
sure.
changed the kid.
Yeah, I hear you guys.
Like, what do you do?
I love the fervor here. I love the fervor. In the last one, we got 7 seed, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 versus Alien 3, which is the worst part 3.
TMNT
Turtles.
3. TMNT 3 or what?
Alien 3.
Alien 3.
Alien 3.
Oh, okay.
Lord.
Yeah.
Come on,
Jeez.
guys.
Sorry,
Somebody.
guys. Sorry, dude.
Nick, I'd help you if I could, but okay, we got
Bestie power.
the final 4 here. We got the Matrix Revolutions versus Terminator 3, which is the bigger disappointment.
Matrix.
Matrix.
Whoa.
Yeah, Matrix.
And then we've got Home Alone 3 versus Alien 3.
Home Alone.
Home Alone.
All right. Lastly,
Home Alone.
which is the all-time critical mess, worst, most disappointing part 3 of a franchise ever? Is it The Matrix Revolutions or Home Alone 3?
All I can say is
Yeah?
Nice.
Is that your vote?
Home Alone.
No,
Home Alone
Matrix.
come on
Home
now.
Alone.
We almost had
no,
an
it's
upset
Matrix.
here.
Sorry,
Come
dude.
on.
It-
Home Alone 3.
Okay,
That
good job,
also
guys.
ruined the franchise.
Good job.
I mean, it was ruined before. that, but-
And just before we do the best, I just want to mention that I did intentionally omit a lot of franchises because they just weren't either bad or good. There wasn't. It's just like they were all sort of very similar, and of course it's subjective.
Those are great picks.
But,
Those are great
yeah,
picks.
Thank you
For the
But,
whole.
like I didn't go Jurassic Park 3 because 2 and 3 were both terrible. I didn't do Pirates of the Caribbean, Transformers, Hunger Games, Twilight, Naked Gun, Austin Powers. Those were all ones where like the first one was just objectively the best, or they were all very homogenous and there was not. It wouldn't have been good conversation. I also didn't include Lethal Weapon, Iron Man, Captain America, Avengers, Guardians, Rocky, or X-Men because that's Marvel, and a lot of us haven't seen a lot of Marvel. And then I didn't include a lot of animated or kid stuff like Cars, Night at the Museum, Despicable Me, Ice Age, Kung Fu Panda, Men in Black, Saw, The Exorcist, Pitch Perfect. There's horror in there as well. So all that being said, we're going to figure out the best now. And this should be probably a little quicker here because these are like easier to, like we know what we think about the best.
Our brains are also wired to go to the best.
Exactly.
Rather than the worst.
We're wired to go to the best.
I feel like you're saying a lot of words really fast right now.
Well, he's trying to pick it up.
Yeah.
I get it.
The number 1 seed, the best, versus the number 16 seed. Okay, these are best, guys. Remember, we're thinking best part 3s of all time. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
That one.
Yep.
That's
one.
It. Fucking yes.
Versus Shrek the Third.
Oh, Shrek
Yeah.
the Third is
Fuck
good.
Shrek Third.
It's not even comparison.
It was
Doesn't
good.
even
It's a good movie,
compare.
though. I liked it. Definitely better than the second. Number 2 seed, Return of the King. Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. Versus The Bourne Ultimatum.
Return of the King. All day.
Did someone just almost say Return of the Jedi? I heard like a... I'll have to go back to the recording. But good answers so far, guys. All right, here we go. Best. Number 3 seed, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Versus the number 14 seed,
Good, the Bad, and the
Thor
Ugly.
Ragnarok. I know we're dipping into Marvel, but I have seen all 3 Thors, and the third was the best.
We're going to be hard-pressed to be Good, Bad, and the Ugly. It's in my top
Good,
10.
bad, and the ugly.
Okay.
Hands down.
I love Thor Ragnarok. But
I know. It's good.
Thor Ragnarok was fucking brilliant.
Don't be afraid to
that's my second
sing it
best Marvel movie.
there you go. Yes, you justified that being the number 14 seed. Number 4 seed, Return of the Jedi. Versus the number 13 seed, Die Hard 3.
Jedi.
Okay. Right?
Die Hard 3.
Oh.
Eat shit.
Okay. No.
I mean, it's kind of close.
Yeah,
It's close, but I had to put the edge. That's why I hesitated. I got to put the edge.
Return of the Jedi to me is the weakest of the 3 original Star Wars movies.
It is.
But it's also not. It's also really, really, really good movie.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I don't have the love for the original trilogy as much as you guys do, but I can appreciate the fuck out of it, and I like watching it. But
well, I appreciate that you went with your heart and did Die
Return
Hard 3.
of the Jedi is on my top 100.
Yeah.
Same here.
All right, the number 5 seed, Toy Story 3. Versus the number 12 seed, Revenge of the Sith.
Toy Story.
Toy Story 3, right? Yeah, Toy Story for sure.
With Lotso. Yeah,
with Lotso.
Lots of hugging there. Okay. Man, I cry at the end of that movie when the old boy gives the stuff to the
Bonnie. He
Yeah,
passes
yeah.
on to Bonnie.
Fucking Bonnie.
All right.
Hold on real quick.
Yeah.
Speeding.
All right. Where are we at? We just had Toy Story 3 beating Revenge of the Sith. Okay, the number 6 seed, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, which I think is the strongest in the entire series.
Yeah.
Versus the number 11 seed, Ocean's 13, which is much better than 12.
Did I see 13? I did see 13. I didn't see the Harry Potter movie, so I don't know.
Okay. Ocean's 13.
Yeah?
I think, yeah.
Okay.
I gotta go
Harry
with that.
Potter.
Yeah. And I think I'm going to have to, obviously I seeded it higher, so I'm going to obviously gonna have to go Prisoner of Azkaban. I don't even like Harry Potter at all, the books or the movies, but I like the third Harry Potter movie just as not even a Harry Potter movie. It's just really well made.
Yeah.
Number 7, Mission Impossible 3. We're coming off of 2, the John Woo 2. Okay, Mission Impossible 3 with Philip Seymour Hoffman versus Goldfinger, the third James Bond movie.
Goldfinger is a better movie.
Goldfinger. Yeah.
And for all the cinephiles out there, by the way, I personally like From Russia with Love better, but Thunderball falls off a steep cliff, the fourth one. So
Way
I think
down.
that
Really? You're a Thunderball hater?
I hate Thunderball.
Oh, man.
I am
so the
too.
third
Sorry.
one. So we went Goldfinger?
I know someone that's their favorite James Bond movie.
Really?
Jeez.
I love you, whoever you are.
His name's Ken.
Oh
shit.
I'm glad
It
I
would
didn't
be
throw any
Ken.
shade.
Sorry,
He
Ken.
loves Thunderball. I don't know
What that does is it makes me want to go revisit it.
Yeah.
All right.
They're all fun.
Finally, we got the 8 and 9 seed, guys. And I have a feeling I know what you guys are going to say, but just give it some thought, okay?
Okay.
The number 8 seed, John Wick 3, versus the number 9 seed, Return of the Pink Panther, Peter Sellers.
How many John Wicks are there? 4?
4.
Okay.
I'm going Pink Panther.
No.
Thank you. Have you seen?
John Wick 3.
Okay.
I gotta go Pink Panther.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I have to.
Yes.
I'm sorry. There's
Good
not
job.
enough love.
Wait, the
third
I
one?
love.
Yeah, the
I
third one's
love
great.
the first
I
John
know.
Wick so much. It's so pure, so simple. I just don't have that much appreciation for 2, 3, 4.
Clearly, I rated them back to back. I mean, I couldn't decide. And again, for the cinephiles out there, I don't count the Alan Arkin one That is technically the third one, but it's not Blake Edwards and it's not Peter Sellers and it's not the same production company.
That's
so
fair.
I'm removing that. Okay, here we go. Number 1, Last Crusade versus number 2, Return of the King.
Crusade.
Nice.
Doesn't matter.
Number 3, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly versus number 4, Return of the Jedi.
Good, the bad, the ugly.
Good, the bad, the ugly.
Okay.
Doesn't matter.
Ben, you might say Return of the Jedi. Okay.
Oh.
No, I want to hear it. All right, number 5, Toy Story 3 versus number 6, Prisoner of Azkaban.
Toy Story. I haven't seen the Harry Potter
Wait,
one. I don't know.
Prisoner of Azkaban got through?
Uh-huh. It beat Ocean's 13.
Prisoner of Azkaban.
Yeah, Prisoner.
Over
of
Toy
Azkaban.
Story 3? Lots of hugging there. Lots of hugging there.
He didn't care about kissing.
Toy
I care
Story
about
3.
hugging.
Toy
I care
Story
about
3.
hugging, though.
Toy Story 3. Toy Story 3.
Way to
Good call.
way to
Good call.
not be persuaded.
Yeah,
job.
I mean, that's a tough one.
All right, and then number 10, Goldfinger versus number 9, Return of the Pink Panther.
Goldfinger.
Goldfinger.
Yeah, Goldfinger.
Okay, final 4 here. Last Crusade, number 1 versus the number 3 seed, Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
I hate this one so much.
That's hard.
Yeah.
I'm going good, bad, and the ugly.
Good, the bad, the ugly. From Gris.
Over
for
the
sure.
Last Crusade.
Yeah.
Even after Temple of Doom.
I have such a soft spot for those films for some odd reason. I'm not a big fan of like old school Westerns, but I remember watching all of those with my uncle growing up.
I just feel like the Good, the Bad, and the Uglies are all very, very close together in like how good they are. And I feel like the Last Crusade got lighting in a bottle after Temple of Doom and came out with like one of the best movies ever made as a part 3. That's why to me it was ranked number 1. But if you guys are saying Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is the better part 3,
That's what we're saying.
That's what we're saying.
You're wrong.
I disagree.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Ben. Number 5, Toy Story 3 versus Goldfinger. Number 10.
Goldfinger.
Goldfinger.
Oh, okay. Upset. I like it. And finally, I know the answer to this already. Goldfinger versus Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Best part 3 movie of all time.
There you go.
The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is the critical mess. Best part 3 of a franchise of all time. And I can get behind that. I really can get behind that.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
worst
It's
of
fair.
all time, The Matrix Revolutions, I can definitely get behind that.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Thanks for joining me on the part 3 of Brian's Corner. We do have a lot of movie runtime to kill, so I'm glad that was so long.
As we watched the scene of McClane walking into the reserve for the first time, and I was just giggling to myself as he's buttoning up his shirt. It's ripped to shit. He's covered in blood. And he's got dark
Burns
stains,
and everything. Yeah.
He's cut up to hell, and he's like limping, and he's got to button his button up shirt just to make
tidy
sure
up
he
a little
looks
bit.
good.
He's going to the Federal Reserve.
This is Critical Mass. We're talking about Die Hard with a Vengeance from 1995. We are sponsored by Old Elk, the straight bourbon. Ambrosial, as always. We are staying hydrated with Modelo. And now we're going to go to our most timeless, our most legendary, our most iconic segment. It's called Rapid Fire. It's called Slow Burn. It's called Crossfire.
Perfect timing.
It's also called Hot Pocket. And this... Thanks, Ben. The segment where we talk all about the random shit we haven't talked about yet. So, let me get us started here. Guys, let's just start with the music in this movie. It's all orchestral, right? And
Very much.
I think it's really, really, really good.
Yeah.
And I think that you just don't get that in action movies anymore. And you haven't for a while, I feel like. I feel like it's very classy to go full orchestra in an action movie like this. It really adds to the drama and the tension. And I also loved I guess I should check myself. It wasn't 100% orchestral. There was a couple of tracks, like the opening track, the whatever that's called, the Hot Time, Summer in the City.
I was shocked that was the song for the. I don't remember that being the song for the intro of this movie.
Yeah, it's the one.
Great.
But it was definitely very, very heavily orchestral. You're totally right about
which
that.
I thought was brilliant for this.
Yeah, music, great.
Yeah. It's one of the things I loved about The Fugitive and True Lies and Speed, like those mid-90s
This time
movies.
period, this time period had some really great orchestral
When did True Lies come out?
soundtracks.
97?
No, it would have been 95. Was it 95? Yeah, 90. True Lies would have been 95. True Lies the same year as this, I think,
No shit.
right?
Oh man, I fucking love True Lies.
I know, it's amazing. 94, 1 year before.
Oh wow.
True Lies and Speed came out within like 6 weeks of each other. Can you name 2 better movies to come out within 6 weeks of each other?
Dude, that was a good summer. That's a good summer.
Face
right there.
Off and Con Air
Another great one.
Face Off, Con Air. That's a
with
good.
the same actor.
That might have been the next summer after this. Would that have been like a 96-ish?
Right around there. Yeah.
Speaking
Man.
of double features, you know
guys-
what I watched with this movie this week?
What's that?
Fifth Element.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Guys,
It's got to be good.
that's not
better-
on our list, right?
A better movie. No, I wish it was.
Okay.
Jeez. If anyone,
Yeah.
anyone doesn't like that movie, just doesn't
Everyone-
like movies.
I think the
It's
core of this Hot
universally
Pocket
liked.
is that the years 94, 95, and 96 are maybe the 3 best years in cinema history.
Let's just go culture.
Everything.
Period.
Music.
Yeah, it's all great. Video games,
Fashion. Well, maybe not so much.
Yeah.
Sitcoms.
sitcom. Yeah, it's all good.
Politics.
Let's Let's talk New York films.
Yes,
let's get into this
please.
Hot Pocket. Is this a 4 cheese? Let's call it a 4 cheese.
I'm diving in.
Yeah,
Four cheese.
Let's dive right into this 4 cheese. A lot of great New York movies are out there, and I guess I want to talk a little bit about how great of a New York movie is this movie, and also let's just talk a little bit about what's the best New York movie.
I'm convinced this is the best New York movie.
The best New
After
York
watching
movie.
this like 4 more times this week, I'm convinced this is the best New York movie.
Wow. Okay.
I'm sorry, but it's
I.
gross, it's gritty, it's hot, it's disgusting. They're all sweaty.
You're not wrong. I say okay. I'd have to caveat that because
Yeah, let's hear it.
there's so many good New York movies like After Hours. I mean, God bless it. You are in the streets of New York. I feel like that's what it's literally like to be in New York.
I'm sorry, I don't
But
even
it's
know
a
what
different.
that movie
It's
is.
a different decade. It's Scorsese. It's what the 80s. It
80s?
takes
Okay.
place all in one night. Kind of a similar.
Oh, okay.
It's very New York.
Very New York.
Okay. I know Taxi Driver was like
yeah.
a big one that I watched, and I was like, yeah, okay,
I
fine.
mean, even like Mean Streets. I mean, Scorsese has some bangers, but a different decade though. I'm thinking, is this the best '90s New York movie? I don't know.
This is hands down definitely the best
because
90s New York movie.
Mine is not a 90s movie.
What about? I mean, I know you talked. This is a previous episode, Uncut Gems.
Yes.
Do we see that as?
So that was my answer.
I mean,
was just
that
waiting.
is just high intensity.
I'm putting
it's
that.
very
Above, I'm
New
putting
York.
that just above this.
I can't put it above this, but it's so fucking close.
This is my best 90s movie, New York movie.
What about? Have you guys seen Midnight Cowboy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a good one. What about Sweet Smell of Success?
That'd probably be mine.
Yeah, you turned me on that
love
one.
that
Oh
movie.
wow.
But
How-
it's definitely in the conversation.
Woody
This is-
Allen's got some great ones.
Yeah, he
Manhattan,
does. Yeah,
a great one. How about Gangs of New York?
yeah. That's interesting because I don't think of that as a New York movie, but it
it's
absolutely
just a
is.
different
It's a
era.
whole different era.
Yeah.
Huh. Good,
Pretty great
good-
New York movie.
Good call.
Yep.
Not as good of a movie as this probably for me, but New York. What about Breakfast at Tiffany's?
That's a good one. That's actually a really good one.
Yeah.
Thanks. I
Sorry,
thought you were gonna
haven't
laugh.
seen
I
it.
thought you were gonna laugh at me.
Oh,
Well,
because you were talking about the Deep Blue Something song.
Gris. Yeah, Gris. It came out before
Right.
1980, so I didn't. I knew you hadn't seen it.
Yeah. Yep.
This movie has a lot of really good, like, setup, callback situations, which I think is a sign of a well-written screenplay. Let me give you a couple. Maybe you guys could even come up with a couple more. There's the lottery number callback.
Ooh, with the badge number.
Early on,
That's a good
when
one.
they pick up McClane, they're hey, what's the lottery numbers last night? He goes, I always play my badge, blah, blah,
Okay.
blah, blah, blah.
Do you remember the number?
6991.
Yeah.
I'll never
Yes.
forget that.
Good job.
It was
Yeah,
actually
very good.
Dude,
Very
that
good.
might be the greatest scene in this
It's
film.
a great callback. I'll give you one more. How about the callback where Charlie, our bomb expert, very early in the movie, kind of rubs together those two substances and tosses the paperclip across the room to show how they explode when you combine them. Very kind of toward the end of the movie, Bruce Willis knows you can combine the two substances to kind of explode the handcuffs off of
Yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson. So another just kind of setup callback. So, and I believe there are probably a couple more.
As a callback, yes. As two events that are completely unrealistic and took me out of it that could possibly happen, no. But that's a different question.
Yeah.
or like when in the Matrix when they have the red and the blue gum. and
No,
you
that's
smash them
Mission
together.
Impossible.
Mission Impossible.
Oh, Mission Impossible.
Yeah, yeah,
Fuck.
Yeah.
Which that's equally unrealistic. These movies don't understand. An explosion has to have pressure. You cannot have an explosion without pressure. I don't care what the materials are. All it does is incendiate. It just burns. It doesn't explode. But whatever, it's a movie.
Brian's a pyro.
We're talking about
I am.
movie. We're talking about movies, not kissing. Okay.
Well, and how do you? And since we're on the subject, how do you like, how does Samuel L. Jackson's hands not get burnt to a crisp? Like, I don't know, a little too clean and convenient.
Hey,
Whatever.
back to the elevator
like
scene.
he's
Let's go back.
That elevator scene. Can we talk about that for a minute? Or do you already have that
we'll
somewhere
get
else?
there. We'll
Okay.
get there.
All right. Perfect.
But I do want to talk about Samuel L. Jackson in general. I think, Brian, you already said earlier he was kind of the high point, at least acting wise.
The high point, I think Brian said.
For the film.
Yeah.
For you. And I mean, I don't know that I necessarily disagree. I think Bruce Willis was a very nice counterbalance to him.
He was great. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they were both really good. But if I had to pick one who gave the better performance, I'll probably go with Samuel L. Jackson.
It was like 1, 2, 3. I'd go Sam Jackson, New York as a setting, and Bruce Willis third, like as a really close 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, they all performed well.
Yeah.
You guys ready for a smoked ham and cheddar?
Ooh, smoked. I'm ready.
Yeah, it's smoked. Let's talk beepers.
Beepers. I used to sell beepers at Circuit City.
Did you?
I did.
I want to talk about them for like 35 minutes.
Yeah. Beepers are amazing.
Yeah, they really, and they're such a, someone who's 5 years younger than us probably doesn't even really know what a beeper is unless they're a doctor or something.
Well, they also don't understand like the cultural significance of
right,
the beeper.
the beeper and the status
right.
the beeper brought.
Well, and they'll never know how to, they have 1,000 emojis to use now. They'll never know what it was like to have to use numbers for letters.
Right.
To make your own images.
They'll never know what it was like to spell boobless upside down on a calculator or a beeper.
Right. That's right.
Or 911.
So
Yeah,
anyway, this movie has
911.
a couple of references to beepers, as in one in particular I remember is talking about using a beeper to kind of phone in the bomb.
Hey, all right. Well, let's talk about the beepers for a second because
I want to.
cellular phones. Cellular
Yeah,
phones.
that's why you brought it up.
I feel like cellular phones were a bigger piece than beepers. I'm
Before we
sorry.
do that,
Well-
can we talk about the beepers for a second?
Yeah.
I mean, they were both, they were contemporaries of each other. The beeper and the cell phone exist together. But the beeper was, for one, it was much cheaper, right? It was much smaller, much easier to carry around. And the big plus on the beeper was it was much less. You didn't have to respond right away, right?
Yeah.
You get the beep, like I got a beep.
It's like a text nowadays.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I might 30 minutes to
It's
respond.
not
to
an
that beep.
emergency. You would have called me if it was an emergency.
Texts are so free.
Well, unless someone beeps you 911. In that case,
You're like, oh, shit, I gotta find a payphone immediately.
Immediately. That's right. That's when you call collect. That's when you got to figure out what's going on.
Now, I never had a beeper.
No,
But
neither did I.
did sell
Never.
them.
Never.
I
sell
wanted
them.
one
You
badly.
guys are old too.
I remember like going to the beeper
older.
store.
My mom had a beeper.
Yeah,
Wow.
nice. Do you remember
that's
do you
about
remember the beeper store? It was like a whole
yeah.
Oh, it's
thing.
its own thing, yeah.
My
Yeah,
dad had
you
a
go-
beeper, but it was like probably 10 years past the point of needing like beepers were cool.
And there were different levels of beeper, right? Some
Yeah.
beepers had a couple of different lines, like double lines.
Couple
Yeah.
lines.
Yeah, some beepers
you
were
could
very
actually
small.
get alphanumeric characters on there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of
No.
want a beeper now.
I know,
You
me
think you can
too.
still get one?
You know
you
how
imagine?
cool would it be if you walked into Well Done with your freaking Reebok pumps on and a beeper on your belt?
Yes.
That
Your
would be
true blue jeans.
That would be amazing.
Does AT&T still support beepers?
I mean, I don't know.
All right,
Doctors
so-
still
Is it a-
use
is
beepers.
it a
As someone with
thing?
kids, I don't know if your kids have phones yet, Brian.
Yeah,
but
they do.
as a Gris has
Unfortunately.
kids, so looking at my kids, they have Apple Watches with cellular, where they're $10 a month, and they have a phone number, and they can text and call people, and that's it. So it's great, but also I feel like it's a beeper of the new
Yeah,
age.
I think you're right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they don't make beepers.
And can we just laugh at that word?
Beeper?
Beeper.
Yeah, beeper's fun.
The beeper is going to mean something like totally different in like 10 years.
I know. It's gonna be Riz, no cap,
It's going to be something.
mogging,
Yeah.
and the beeper.
And beeping.
Who was like, check out this awesome device, man. I know where
Beep
I'm at.
it.
Hey, here's what we're gonna call it. Beeper.
I'm all rizzed up from a beeper.
Well, you can take a blinker right after you look at your beeper.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, let's talk attire. I want to talk Bruce Willis and the spouse beater. I think that is
Iconic.
so iconic.
Iconic.
Yeah.
With the gun holster over the leather over the shoulder gun holster. All I wrote in my notes was that equals A+ Ultraman.
I literally wrote this down.
Because I know for a fact that it was also probably in True Lies with Schwarzenegger. I feel like that was a
No.
thing, or maybe he had a shirt
See,
plus the
And that's
holster.
the thing. I don't feel like these like Sly and Schwarzenegger and stuff. I don't feel like they were
I
wife
feel
beaters.
like they did, or not wife beaters, but they had shirts with the leather
They had the
Okay,
They
all right.
they would have the gun
Guys,
holsters.
Yeah,
It's a
but-
spouse beater.
But
Spouse beater. Sorry.
spouse
okay.
beater.
It's okay.
But I feel like that was one of the signals of him being sort of like an everyman. He's just got this spouse beater.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, totally.
I
And
mean,
it's
look at him.
dirty.
He's not big. He's not bulky. He's not huge. He's not ripped. He's not like
Yeah.
But
covered
he'll
in.
still beat your ass.
But he
you
will
know?
fuck some shit up to figure it
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
He will. Let's talk riddles. We brought
Yeah,
that up
let's talk
earlier,
riddles.
and
Let's
I,
talk
and I thought
riddles.
that was just a nice.
I love a good riddle.
Yeah, I love a good riddle too, and this movie had some really nice ones. And you know, I think, and that's something I'll say that I kind of, if I was watching this movie again for the first time, I feel like the riddles would they were just really good. They were interesting. They're engaging. I couldn't figure them out right
the
away.
Seven Wives one was really good.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
one of those
7 guys with
subversion
7
ones.
wives.
I gotta watch that
Yeah.
over and over again to
7
figure it out.
Sacks with 7 cats.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's the one guy.
And
So-
did you guys get nervous when he entered the total number, and then like
Hung up
it
quickly?
started ringing,
Yeah.
and then Sam Jackson hits the receiver? I'm like, wait, did the call already go through?
Yeah. Like, wait, did Simon have that number
Yeah.
also?
Yeah, they cut
connected
that really close.
for the wrong answer.
Well, anyway, I just thought I love
The 5 gallon, 3 gallon.
Let's
We-
talk about
we
that.
haven't
for a
talked
second.
about that yet.
So there's the scene in the park where there's kind of a riddle set up where it's at this sort of elephant fountain with a 5-gallon jug and a 3-gallon jug, and the challenge is this bomb is set up to go off unless they can put the 5-gallon jug on the scale with exactly 4 gallons inside the jug,
Not an ounce off.
not an ounce off.
Because it weighed how much that weighed, right?
Right,
So they
right.
couldn't
So there-
simulate that.
Right. So there's this, there's like a scale on the bomb.
It's like brilliant.com. It's like one of these brain, like this. They
It
did
is.
do like a crossover. Like, you know how the Old Spice did throwback Dolph Lundgren?
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant.com needs to do throwback Die Hard with a Vengeance to get am I just a nerd?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's
It's
okay.
okay.
We all are.
But let's talk about the 3-gallon, 5-gallon. Nick, do you want to explain that?
No,
After we just
because my brain hurts. My brain hurts when I try to do that.
There's two ways to do it.
That's the important thing. There are two ways
There are
to do
two
this.
ways to
and the
solve
way
this
that we were
puzzle.
talking about, off mic, was we thought about a way to
Yes.
do it that was not the way they do it in the film.
It was
which
less
is really
efficient,
interesting.
which is weirdly, I've always thought about this. So the 5-gallon, 3-gallon bucket problem is they're just trying to figure out to the ounce 4 gallons. And so they had to fill the bucket and put it on the scale, diffuse the bomb. So Brian, I don't know if you even thought about how this worked or analyzed that at all.
No.
But it is the number one thing that I remember from this movie and knowing how to do that puzzle because it's come up later in like memes and videos and things where I'm like, oh yeah, I know how to solve that.
Do you want to explain?
Yes.
Okay, so you're going to explain your way
My
first? Okay,
way that
your
I've
way
known
first.
for 30 years or whatever,
All
25 years, is you essentially pour the 3-gallon bucket twice into an empty 5-gallon bucket to end with a 1 gallon and a 3-gallon. Okay.
So you fill the 3-gallon all the way up.
Yep.
Pour it into the 5.
Five.
Fill the 3-gallon all the way up again.
Yep.
Pour it all the way into
Pour
the
it
5
in.
until it tops off.
Yep.
And now you've got 1
you
gallon
have 1
in the 3.
gallon in the 3-gallon
Got
and
it.
5 gallons in the 5-gallon. You empty the 5-gallon out and you put the 1 gallon into the 5 and you put another
And you
3
fill up the
full
3 all the way.
and you put it
again.
into the
And
you
put
got
it in.
4.
Got 4.
But that's
Boom. Yeah.
that's 4 pours total.
And this movie does
versus-
it in 3.
They do it in
2?
2. So
How
you
do they
take
do it, Gris?
you take the 5-gallon.
We're going to actually, let's just, we're only going to tell this to our Patreons.
This is only for the secrets of life to get this.
No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
You essentially have it in 2. You figure it out in 2. So you take the 5-gallon, pour it into the 3, and you're left with 2. Empty the 3, right? And you take the 2, fill it into the 3.
Uh-huh.
Okay. You fill the 5 back up, pour it into the 3 again.
Right.
You're left
And
with
you just
4
have
gallons.
1 because you're only pouring
Yeah.
1 gallon out of the 5.
Correct.
Right.
But
it. My brain's all firing on all cylinders.
I hope people will be listening back to this so many times because I remember rewinding this on cable back in the day and be like,
I'm so horny
Oh, I
for
can feel-
math.
I fucking hate math.
If we just
I'm a kid.
coherently explained that riddle 2 different ways without visuals and our audience got it, first of all, our audience, you guys are savvy as
Yeah.
fuck.
Yep.
And second of all, Gris, damn.
Yeah,
Good
that was
job.
impressive.
This is my favorite
Yeah.
riddle of all time. It's from this movie. I love
Clearly.
this movie.
It's not my favorite movie riddle of all time. Ooh.
Ooh.
I wonder what that would be.
Oh, dang. This is my favorite riddle of all time for a movie.
It's in Batman Returns when Enigma.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good one. Batman Forever, there was like the tear one off and scratch my head. What once was red is black instead. It's a match. Not nearly as good, but there is one from Batman
Fuck
Forever.
that.
So
Go ahead, Nick. Go
Well, I
ahead.
was going to say the other great thing about the riddles in this movie is kind of the setup to get to the riddles is always really fun. Like something I really liked Like this is super simple. And Brian, you kind of talked about this earlier, how like it's just there's no bullshit in this movie.
Yeah.
Like it just kind of you get right to it. And the idea that you just need to make it 90 blocks in 30 minutes in New York City. That's a fun, interesting idea, right? It's very simple. You just you steal a cab, you cut through the park, you call an ambulance to be your lead blocker.
You almost kill 5,000 people.
You almost kill all these people. You try to kill the mime.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So, anyways, I just think like that's such a simple idea, but it's also such a crazy, fun, interesting idea. And I think that kind of working together with the riddles, like rushing to get to these locations to get the riddle, it just works really well for me.
That's what helped the chemistry between Sam Jackson and. I don't know. I love that part of it.
Do you remember when they're getting ready to make that phone call, or were they getting ready to go to that phone to make the 7 wives thing before they have to go 90 blocks or whatever? And the guy on the phone's like, "Is there a problem?" And Sam Jackson's looking at the phone, and that kind of bigger lady's on it. He goes, "Yeah, about 300 pounds worth." I cracked up at that part.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's not riddles. Are we still talking riddles?
Sure.
My favorite riddle in a movie is from The Labyrinth. Have you guys seen The Labyrinth?
Of course.
Not in a long
There's
time.
the two guys. The one guy always tells the truth, and the other guy always lies.
That's a great one.
And old girl has to figure out which is which. That breaks my brain even more than the 3 gallon, 5 gallon.
It's like it's a logic problem.
Yeah, if I haven't thought about it in years and I just think about it cold, I'm like, this is impossible.
Yeah,
There's no way.
My brain
Is that like the
doesn't do well with
Princess
those.
Bride when they're drinking the?
No, because that's another good one.
I've not seen The Labyrinth, so I don't know.
Oh man,
I
there's
know, I
such a
need
good
to.
one. It's just real quick. I won't go into it, but the riddle is there's 2 doors. One door leads to a castle at the center of the labyrinth. The other leads to certain death. One door is guarded by a truth-telling knight. The other by a lying knight. You may ask one question to one knight to determine which door is safe. And the answer is you ask either knight. If I were to ask the other knight which door leads to the castle, what would he say? Then you choose the opposite door. Broke my brain.
I hate
breaks
it.
my
wow.
brain.
I don't even want
That's
to
awesome.
try that.
But it's like if you can get to it and you can actually think about it and figure it out, it's like the best feeling once you get it and then you lose it.
Did you get it?
Not on my own. But yeah, there's other good ones. I feel like there's some good word riddles, like in Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, when he's like, speak friend and enter, and you end up, and it's like, it speak the word friend and enter. There's a lot of little riddles in movies that I like.
How about National Treasure? Ooh, yeah. How about that brick that's buried in the
God damn
Now,
it.
do you
Fucking
think
brick.
this is a thing that writers just add into films to just pull in the audience so they feel like they've solved something? I think that's what this
Yeah, I think
movie is
so.
for
Yeah,
me.
you're kind of challenging the
fun.
audience
Yeah.
to participate.
You're making it their
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is a great move.
Oh, it's brilliant.
There's a good one in The Dark Knight. I'm easy to get into, but hard to get out of. And the answer is trouble. I think that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Other ones here and there, but I like a good riddle, riddle in a movie.
I feel like this movie was just constantly edging you to the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go for remember we proposed a new flavor of Hot Pocket, I believe?
It was the buffalo chicken,
Buffalo chili
chili
cheese.
cheese.
Buffalo chili cheese.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It is.
It's a culinary masterpiece.
It is. Culinary. Yes.
Culinary.
Having just watched The Bear season 3.
Here we go.
Is that good, by the way?
It's solid.
Okay, never
Yeah.
mind. Go ahead.
I'm
Yeah, Ben
curious.
and I have talked.
Sorry, go.
It's not the
Nick.
Bear Show, guys. Gaming. Die Hard.
I've never played a Die Hard game.
Never played any Die Hard games.
Never.
Neither of you guys.
I never played movie games. I for some reason. There'd
never
be like the Spider-Man
never
game
played
or
a
the
movie game.
Terminator
Well,
game
there's a
or
lot
whatever.
of cross generation. There's a Nintendo NES Die Hard game.
I've heard of
Which
NES.
is kind of it's an okay game. It's it goes for about $100. It's not a cheap one. There is a outstanding PS1 game called Die Hard Trilogy that has a different game for each of the 3 original trilogy, and they're very different games. The first one is a third-person sort of shooter. The second one is a kind of a first-person rail shooter for Die Hard 2, going through the airport, and Die Hard 3 is like a driving game.
Oh, cool.
Where you kind of just drive
works.
through New York City
Yeah,
and
that
try
fits.
to reach objectives and defuse bombs. Well, that's disappointing that you guys have not
I'm
played
sorry.
any Die Hard video games, but there are some good ones. There's also Die Hard Arcade, which was an arcade game, obviously, but it was also on the Sega Saturn, which was kind of a third-person beat-em-up. Also a pretty expensive game these days. So,
I played Star Wars games. So I said I didn't play movie games. I played a lot of Star Wars games, but for some reason I just never gravitated towards the movie franchise turned into game.
Sure.
I don't know why. I'm sure they were great.
Yeah,
Man,
they were pretty good. The Die
I
Hard
was-
games. The moral of the story is the Die Hard games are pretty good.
Yeah.
Man,
pretty
I
good.
played
I
all
believe
the
it.
obscure games, Elevator Action, and
Well, Elevator Action's good.
That could have been a Die Hard game.
that's true.
All right. Well, I guess that was kind of a buffalo chili cheese or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, maybe
Let's
not.
make that be cheddar broccoli.
Cheddar broccoli. No one's really that excited about cheddar
No.
broccoli, but that's
Oh, but
okay.
it's
Only
solid.
if it's a soup in a bread bowl.
Yeah.
Then I can get down on some cheddar broccoli.
Wish there was a cheddar broccoli bread bowl place open right now.
We actually had cheddar broccoli for dinner tonight.
How about just a hot hickory beef?
Ooh, what do we got?
Yeah. Where's that hickory beef coming from? Here it is. Here's a scene I really just I think we need to talk about. The scene where Zeus is alone in the cab, and that just unwitting gentleman thinks
Oh yeah.
that he's just an ordinary, everyday cab driver. And he says, "Sir, you don't take me where I want to go. I will have your medallion revoked. 112 Wall Street." And Mr. Samuel Jackson, a.k.a. Zeus, says, "You got it,"
You got it.
and proceeds to, drive like an absolute fucking maniac. And I love that scene.
That's good.
It's just such a good
cathartic.
scene because that guy's such an asshole and he gets what he deserves.
Mm-hmm.
So,
But he got his gold bar.
It's just, I always love instant. Yeah, no, that's not that guy. Different guy.
Oh, is it different?
Different guy.
Oh, that's right. They stole the cell phone guy. That's right.
Anyway, instant karma. I always like instant karma. So, all right, guys. What else do we have here? We've got a couple of good quotes. We already talked a little bit about the FBI van scene, which, is for whatever reason just sticks in my brain. Still trying to butch up by chewing on your glasses.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah.
And
he was really hamming that chewing on the glasses
he
for a
was
long time.
too.
You knew they were
that
going to
was
address
just-
that.
Yeah, they did. Or you did. I think that a really great quote, a really great turn in this movie is when you first see Jeremy Irons for the very first time. He's on the roof, kind of observing that sequence, right, in the FBI van. And he kind of gives that line. He's like, "They bought it." He's like, "Hook, line, and sinker." And I love how all the kind of like the intrigue that sets off, right? Because you're like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Like, if you've never seen this movie, you have no idea what this guy is talking about, that this was all a setup, that they're going to steal all this gold from you have not even the slightest inkling that that's going to happen. And once again, I think that's just some pretty smart, interesting storytelling.
But it also took about 90 seconds for him to say hook, line, and sinker.
He does. Jeremy Irons has a lot of great quotes in this movie. "It's Wall Street, sir. A lot of money here."
Yeah, dude, his accent jumping back to the American was great.
Yeah. It was fine. He's PMAR. I don't know.
That's fair.
The GOAT.
I love seeing a crime take place on a security camera. Anybody else?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Big fan of that happening.
Well,
I think
usually-
it pretty much always works.
Yeah, and I
me.
feel like it's usually because there's a group of people who are trying to find a clue. They're trying to
Could be.
they're reviewing something and it's like either they're missing a clue that we're seeing or they're like hey, go back, enhance,
But it's also a great way to set up like some good tension, because like it's you're kind of seeing this like heinous thing happening in like black and white with no sound. It's kind of like weirdly a little bit like disturbing. Like I think back to like the opening of like Snatch. You guys remember that movie? There's some good security camera stuff going on.
But it was great. I mean, that chick was she was dark. She was real.
Oh, the girl in Die Hard 3?
Yeah, that's what we're talking
yeah.
about, right? It wasn't the security camera where it goes black and it shows her killing all the guys through the security camera. Or am I thinking of something else?
That's not. No, that's not.
She
Not
was dark
security.
though. She was a way over the top.
We're gonna
all right,
we're gonna get to
explain
that.
the scene here, then.
There's a security camera sequence when they're stealing all the gold, and the guards are watching them steal the gold.
Oh, okay, all right.
And they're like, "What's going on?" And they're seeing the.
I'm thinking of her
bulldozers.
when she's cutting into the.
Yeah.
But there's a security cam footage there too, right?
I don't think so.
Oh, man, wrong. Damn it.
Nick knows his security footage.
Yeah, he does.
And that's not one of them.
Yeah. I thought you've seen this movie 35 times.
A lot.
Let's talk about that scene though, Gris. I think that's a good one to bring up. That chick just knifing that security guard with that karambit knife.
Man.
I mean, that left an impression on me as a child.
She
I remember just being
kept
like,
going.
She kept going, and the way the blood just spurts,
Yeah.
like out of that dude, that stuck with me. That was an intense kill.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely an intense kill. That much is for sure.
Is it more intense than the guy getting chopped in half?
I think yes.
Yeah, I
because
agree.
the
It's
guy
more-
getting chopped in half is just physics.
And it's very fast.
But she is like this crazy person for some reason who just wants to murder everyone.
And it's her stoicism as she does it.
Yeah, it's
she just
like-
has this steely look in her.
I
on
just
her
had
face,
this question: why?
Right.
Yeah, she wants blood. She wants blood.
Okay.
She's sick. Jeremy Irons
It's
likes
a
it.
vengeance.
Yeah, right.
A vengeance.
Who is she avenging?
So, well,
Do we know?
what?
Do we know who she's avenging?
No, she's just avenging. She's just angry.
She's
Maybe
just a bad
avenging-
bitch.
The fact that
She's a
she was
bad bitch, dude.
Maybe she's avenging. Fuck, what's his name? The guy
Hans
killed him.
Gruber?
Hans Gruber.
Maybe. I mean, she's Jeremy Irons' chick, so that tracks.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sister-in-law? What do you call? I
So-
don't know.
that's fine.
Yeah. How do
That's
you?
all right. That's fine.
So, let's go Chicken Bacon Ranch. We talked a little bit about the New York kind of as a setting and how strong that is, and I want to dig just a little bit deeper into that and talk a little bit about some of the vignettes that pop up throughout this movie that I think really add a lot to that New York flavor. And I'm gonna give a few right here. The kids stealing the candy bars from, and then they gets that revelation, McClane,
Yeah.
that you could steal City Hall. I love that, just that little sequence of him just pedaling his little bike down the street, stealing the candy bars. Just feels like something that would happen in New York. He's a very New York kid. The 911 call center. I feel like, once again, it's just a little vignette. It's just like a minute, maybe. Then it cuts back to it a couple times. But it's just, that feels like what the 1995 New York 911 call center was like.
For sure.
Yeah.
And it added a lot. The people in the kind of the office building eating popcorn as they watch the subway kind of explosion. And there kind of cuts back to them a couple times, and they're sort of having fun.
Yeah.
Just these little New York moments. I thought this movie, cut to these characters a few times that like we didn't really get to know, at all. But yet that kind of just cutting to that scene really just added the New York flavor to me.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated that for
Same.
this
Yeah.
movie.
For sure.
Can I give you one?
Yeah, please.
I love a long shot of a New York street.
Yeah.
You see like 3 miles down a canyon, and like it's just a long telephoto lens. Love it.
Yep, agree. Let's talk about accents in this movie, because there are a lot of them, and they're used in interesting ways.
So
I
is Jeremy Irons German?
believe he is German. Yes, but there's a lot of Germans faking U.S. accents.
Oh,
in this movie,
Doesn't Jeremy Irons do that too?
he does it, and his crew does it regularly
Yeah.
to people that they're kind of
So
interacting
he's an
with.
English actor portraying a German speaking with an American accent.
I think
That's hard.
It's there's a lot of levels to this.
That's
shit.
hard to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, I thought, and a lot of times, let's put it this way. I feel like the accents or bad accents or wrong accents like detract from a movie very regularly. We talked about that with Enemy at the Gates a little bit. I don't know if we really agreed that it added or detracted, but there was some weird accent stuff going on. British accents, Russian accents. It definitely didn't like make it better.
Right.
This is a movie where I feel like kind of the accent play made the movie better and more interesting.
Agree.
Yeah.
Did you
which
guys
is
ever
unusual.
did you ever connect the German accent to the original Gruber?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And that's why I say he's a PMAR, because he's really channeling Alan Rickman and that whole crew, and it's just So yeah, I thought back to that.
I feel like they were more, I don't know what the word is, devious or more like ominous in this film than they were in the first. Like
Really?
they just felt like henchmen, like just big characters. I don't feel like they were probably playing up the German accent.
Oh, I was way
in the
more
first.
scared of the villains in Die Hard. Matter of fact, I might hot take. Die Hard may have the best group of villains of all time.
It's so good. I agree completely.
Yeah. Yep. Best henchmen.
And just German henchmen are just great. They're dressed really well. They always have great,
Great fashion.
They always
Are we
have,
going back to this?
They have
we
great,
going back to this?
They have
Yeah.
great hair.
Why
Every
do I
time.
Hugo Boss.
Have you ever seen like
Hugo Boss.
Have you ever seen like a balding kind of like scruffy haired German henchman?
No.
They've got the pomade, slick back, looking cool. So anyway,
Hey, back to your chick, your German chick, doing the slicing and dicing.
she's
killer
not my
scene.
chick.
All right, well,
So that's Jeremy.
I had to go back and scroll through the movie really quickly on my phone to see, because I vividly remember the CCTV footage of her breaking into the place and then cutting the guy up. That was like the most iconic scene for me. I don't know, what was the other scene for you?
What are you talking about?
The video.
He's caught up on the security surveillance where he brought up the fact
maybe
that
there is
was
some sort of surveillance shot. I can tell you for 100% fact, she cuts the guy's neck and blood sprays out, and that's not a surveillance camera.
But the lead up was back and forth between the security
that's
guy
all part of the
being
sequence
nervous.
I'm talking about.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, that's all
Just
part of the
making
same
sure.
sequence.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's the part where their security cameras are.
I'm glad. Thanks for you really backed up what you
I
said.
had to go back.
I know.
there.
I
had to.
because I more power to
Vividly
you.
remember that crazy ass bitch going through the
More power
security.
to you.
I'm sure she does pop up on the camera probably.
Can I say in this movie I do appreciate how Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson, they progressively get more and more beat up as the movie goes.
do.
And a lot of
I love
times
that.
in movies, somebody will like have the most traumatic event ever, and then a couple scenes later they're just fine. And I'm like, shouldn't you at least be bleeding? And it's like Bruce Willis with the caveat of the very end when they get blown up off the boat and they're completely enveloped in flame, and then they're not burnt and they're not hurt. With that aside, they do a really good job at the costume department does a really good job at consistency between scenes.
The continuity is insane.
Continuity, that's the word I'm looking for.
It's just
Good job.
absolutely bonkers.
What's our flavor?
Is that the
Are we still at hickory?
Philly steak croissant.
Ooh, the croissant crust was different on a croissant pocket.
It was.
I forgot about
Croissant
that.
pockets.
I didn't know it was a thing.
You never had a croissant pocket?
Never.
Croissant.
I was a pizza roll boy myself.
So, Gris, I told you we'd bring this up again, but the elevator scene, we got to talk about it for a second because it's one of the best scenes in the movie. A+, and it's that callback to the lottery numbers. And I love the thing that's so great about the scene is the utter and total lack of hesitation. It's like the moment he realizes that badge number is the wrong badge, he's like, I'm gonna smoke all these guys.
Yeah, I like that.
Didn't
how
even think about it
quickly
for 1 second.
Efficient that
The
was.
fact he
Yep.
tied it back to the lottery numbers of them talking in the van. He's like, "Oh, what were the lottery numbers?" They all like had that banter, like that New York City, like
right. And it was
joking.
totally gone.
It was so And then he's like, "Oh yeah, what do you guys think the lottery numbers?" Not a single word. Like, "Oh, don't play" or whatever. They just didn't say anything. And he sees the 6991 and he remembers that. His look on his face was brilliant. But 4v1, 3 giant
It's pretty
Germans
badass.
versus
But I love how
when you're caught off guard.
McClane is a shoot first, ask questions later kind of guy.
Yeah, he is. Did you
And
see him drive that cab through New York?
And it kind of bites him at the end of the
There's
movie.
no
Remember
regard for human life.
when they're on the ship at the end, and he kind of has that showdown with that big German guy, and right before that, the other German guy jumps out in front of him and yells something in German, and he blasts the shit out of him. And he was like, "What'd you say?" And the other guy's like, "He said, don't shoot."
don't shoot.
Right. And so I just think that was kind of an interesting. He might have just blasted some innocent. Well, kind of innocent.
Elevator fight scene, best in film, right there.
I mean,
Elevator fight scene?
There's
Yeah.
a.
I
think
we
the-
don't count True Lies in there because that's not they were in elevators. They didn't
I
fight in
don't-
the elevators.
I think the elevator
That was him waiting with the horse versus the motorcycle.
What were you gonna say, Nick?
Drive has a better elevator fight scene.
Oh my God, you're so dude. Ooh, you're
yeah,
right
I haven't
about
seen that in a while.
Yeah.
That's a good call.
That is
I think of
the
Captain
number one.
America, and
I was
now
about to say, that's the
I
other one I
can't
thought of.
not
Yeah,
think of
yeah.
Captain America in this movie specifically. I didn't realize how
it's very
one
tied
to
together.
one it
No,
was tied.
The Drive one has some of the best build up.
It's just perfect.
Masterful. Hey, can I real quick give a little Totino's Pizza Roll?
Oh,
little
please.
child of a Hot Pocket.
Uh-huh.
I just want to say this before I forget. Joe, our guy Joe. He's the guy who goes in the end and saves the kids in the building. Do you guys know what my favorite role of his is? Do you guys remember Maverick?
Oh yes.
Yes.
He's the Indian who's like,
Yes.
you think he's this crazy Indian, and then he's just
Yes.
like his
Yeah,
buddy.
that's
I love
great.
that movie
Dude,
so
I
much.
love that
Role.
movie so much.
What a
Anyway.
good movie.
Is that on our list?
Cool guy. No, I wish it was.
No.
Let's talk about. I want to just talk about Charlie for a quick second. Quick shout out because he was so
Charlie's
great.
great. Charlie.
He was the
yeah.
best in my opinion, like sub character.
It's
and
pancake syrup.
I know, and I loved. He just every time he was on screen, I was having fun.
Yeah.
He
He was
just
such a nerd. He's like, ooh,
and he was so righteous the way he was going to sacrifice his life for those kids, and the way he just the pancake syrup revelation. It's just I don't
perfectly
know.
cast.
Yeah, I love him. He's just great. Here's something that was not so great. The whole sequence where they jump off the bridge onto the ship and they like use the winch from the truck. That was just, kind of going back to my sort of bad CGI comment and also just what a dumb fucking idea. Like that was a really
But
bad-
Sam Jackson was like, "Yeah, let's do it," and then McClane was like, "No, let's figure out a different way."
The biggest problem with that was when the truck goes off and the cable snaps down, they literally fall 60 feet onto metal and they're fine.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah.
Lazy writing.
So you guys said, let's call this steak nacho. You guys said that you didn't like the kind of last 10 to 15 minutes, that last sort of fourth act epilogue thing. I agree it wasn't great, but I didn't dislike it nearly as much as you guys. And I will say I love the fake kind of real ending, or it's not the real ending, the fake ending to Act 3, which should have been the real ending, where he calls his wife, and he has that kind of reaction to the pill bottle. He has that revelation. He's like, oh, this is where the guy is. And he just hangs up on her. After all that buildup, right? All that kind of, ribbing, you got to call your wife, you idiot, you didn't talk to her for a year, you're being petty.
And then he hangs up on her.
And he just hangs up on her.
And like their relationship at the end of Die Hard 2 was so good. They came together and loved each other again. And were in the whole movie they were apart. She's on the plane, she's going to die. He saves everything. They finally come together. They probably kiss. I don't care. And they get together. And now Die Hard 3, he's hungover and he hasn't talked to her in a year. And then he finally calls her, and he just throws the phone down to go kill somebody.
Love it so much.
I don't love it.
I do.
But I don't. No, Nick, I do feel like, and I think Gris talked about this earlier with you, maybe there was test screenings and they changed it or rewrites or something, but I do feel like this whole movie takes place in 6 hours because they talk about it's just past 9 when he's in the store in the early, and it's like they got to get somewhere by 3. And then all of a sudden you've got this 15 minutes at the end that's like another 6 hours later. It's like, I mean, that's fine, but like it kind of de-escalates things a little bit.
I agree. It feels tacked on.
Do we all know about the alternate ending? That was the
Yes.
first original?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We got to discuss that now?
I don't.
Yeah, it's on the DVD. It's been a while since I watched it, but
Can you real quickly tell me what
I
happens?
watched it today. I wanted to see because I've known about this for years.
I like it.
I love it.
Yeah.
It was the original ending to this film. They cut out the whole helicopter scene of him going back. So the pill bottle was the hotel that he was staying at or the town he lived in.
Mm-hmm.
And so he tied it back to him. So months or weeks later, he caught up with Simon in a little bar or barista somewhere. And he brings a Chinese, I think it was, like a Chinese bazooka. And he removed the arrows to say which side blew out the explosive. And he put it on the table and he played Simon Says with him. And if he got it wrong, he had to pull the trigger and see which direction the bomb would blow up to. Oh. And so he went back and forth with a few riddles, and then he was like, hey, it was so calm and so quiet. And then he loses, shoots like Simon pulls the trigger, blows himself up, and McClane's like, should have worn your flak jacket.
Weird.
Like he had his jacket on, and he knew he was going to win, and he says, yippee-ki-yay.
Oh, that's kind of like the Sicilian Princess Bride dilemma, because in either case, he wins.
It was perfect.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That feels like a true epilogue.
It was pretty great. I don't know if it was better. I think it was a little bit better, but not much better. I don't know. It's tough.
Let's go for a fiery hot pepperoni, and let's rate that sex scene.
Aggressive.
The only kiss in the movie, I believe.
That was a kiss, wasn't it?
Well,
that was aggressive.
She was still covered in sweat and other people's blood. For sure.
Attacks him. It kind of reminded me of the sex scene in Goldeneye, where Famke Janssen kind of like kills that admiral guy or whatever.
Those were that
was a
saw that a little young.
13, 14-year-old me had some
way too young.
We had to process.
I had a lot of questions for my dad after we walked out of the theater.
Were they having a good time?
Was the man happy?
Yes. I think everyone was happy actually at the end of the day.
Oh my god.
Anyway, guys, rate it 1 out of 10. Was it hot? Was it not?
That's an 8 out of 10.
I mean, I think the more
hot.
wild it is, the hotter it is. So I'll go with you.
They give that
8.
little look at the end, like he's giving that big speech with all his men, and he's like, and she looks at him, and he looks at her.
It's kind of like the end of Speed, like they just get blown up through the subway and they're on top of each other. That's going to be good because
on
like
the top of that little piece of metal,
your adrenaline's up, man. Like it's got to be good, right?
But she goes like full jujitsu, like Darce choke, and tries to. Anyway,
could have been a little more skin.
Yeah, no, yeah, it was light on the skin.
Go back.
Okay, I love this quote. Into the movie. John McClane. Should we call a fire truck? Zeus. Yeah, fuck it, let him cook.
That was my favorite quote of the movie.
Here's
my favorite Zeus quote. So they carjack that really nice Mercedes when they get out of that busted little car that can't go above like 50. And then they steal the car from the guy, and then as they're driving away, they stop and they turn back to the guy. They're like, "Who is the 21st president?" And he's like, "I don't know."
Fuck you.
And Zeus goes, "That guy was pissed." It's like, no shit, you just stole his car and then asked him a question.
Took his phone and everything. Yeah, that's
It was a good delivery because he was just like genuinely like, that guy was pissed.
That's a good line. That's a great line. All right, and then let's kind of end with the end here, unless you guys have more hot pockets. You know, I love the long shot, the pull out at the end. It just feels really classy, and not a lot of movies I feel like do that anymore. And then the other thing this movie does at the very end that I feel like is classy that movies don't do is it drops the title on screen at the end of the film.
Oh yeah, that's not very frequent, is it?
Yeah, and I like that.
It's kind of cool.
Puts a button on it.
I don't know if I like that.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's fine.
You guys have a what the fuck? Frozen applewood bacon egg cheese?
Oh, that's a breakfast hot
Croissant?
pocket.
Oh, it's a
croissant
breakfast.
pocket.
Yeah,
I got
any of
one.
those?
I got one. Just real quick. I love when an actor has to sober up really quickly, or a character has to sober up really quickly in a movie.
Love that.
One of my favorite ones is in Independence Day when old boy is like he's getting his shit together. He's like
Yes.
he's like drinking that coffee. Keep it coming,
Yes.
Randy Quaid. You know, and
And I love
this.
how many aspirin.
we just watched it.
Do you ever look how many aspirin Bruce Willis actually take? It's not like 2 or
they're
3.
like Skittles.
It's like 9.
Yeah.
like it's like you'll just die if you take that.
I mean,
many
he just
aspirin.
he takes the pill bottle and just throws it to his
Oh,
mouth,
yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
empty when he's done. So
I
who
just
knows?
love when a character's and they're like, oh shit, I got a job to do, and they're like, all right, here we go. It's
That's
like
a- that's-
rally.
yeah,
you
I
know?
love that.
I
That's a
can't
great
think of a
call-out.
lot of other examples, but I just saw
They're
it
out
in
there.
Independence
Yeah,
Day.
that's great. Yeah. Yeah.
You got any, Gris?
I got nothing. This movie's great though.
Yeah, I'll say my one other thing is I love, and this I was thinking about this at Brian's Corner, but it wasn't it. Is I love movies when there's some sort of a guy like a villain who's like calling the shots by phone, and they're like it's like they're always dictating. Everybody's like, oh, somebody hangs up, they're like they'll call back. Like there's always that interplay between like Ransom, you know,
Man on Fire.
Man on Fire. You've got that. Speed is my favorite example of that.
Speed,
Dennis Hopper.
totally.
They don't even reveal where he's at till the end. It's always. You're always like, well, how are you going to talk to the guy? Who's going to talk to the guy? Negotiator, really good. I love a good phone call villain.
Yeah.
How far into the movie do you think Iron showed up physically, like view?
For me, I felt like it was like 45 minutes in.
Yeah, it was a while.
46 minutes into the film.
Hey,
he
look at
shows
that.
up.
1 minute off, baby.
That seems insane.
Yeah.
Remember Phone Booth with Colin Farrell?
I actually
That's
really liked
exactly
that
what I was
movie.
about to say.
Oh, that's
Joel
true.
Schumacher.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of a good movie.
Yeah, it
I
is.
moved up to the mic to talk about Phone Booth.
Ben made his long
Yeah,
progression.
It's a great,
from his
it's a
lounge
great
position.
example of
Yeah.
what Brian brought up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and who is it at the end? So we shouldn't spoil
No,
that, right?
no,
Yeah, it's a
Never.
compelling character,
Yeah.
compelling person.
All right, let's do some closing thoughts here. I will give mine to start. I have big nostalgia glasses for this movie, so you know that colors how I rank it clearly. But I do think this is a quintessential summer blockbuster, super fun movie. Does the Die Hard name justice? Is a very different movie from the first two, which I really appreciate and like. I still think it's a great movie, even though it's very different, and I still think it fits within the canon of the franchise, even though it's a very different movie. So agree that Jeremy Irons is not as good as Alan Rickman, but I think that kind of the counterbalance of Samuel L. Jackson and Zeus kind of makes up for that. And I think he's really awesome in this movie, and probably, as we've discussed, kind of the high point of Samuel L. Jackson in this movie. He's amazing. So, great movie. Highly recommend it. Think it holds up well. And if you like action movies, you like 90s movies, you like big summer blockbusters, I mean, you can't go wrong with this movie.
Go ahead, Gris.
Strongly agree. Everything you just said. This movie is just absolute insanity. It's so much fun. There's so many things to rewatch and enjoy and catch on to the second, third, fourth, fifth watch. Ironically, watches. Did we not talk about that at all?
No,
we
because there's a very distinct watch scene here at the end.
There's so many watches in this movie. But the biggest one, Nick, I'm shocked you didn't wear your watch tonight, your Die Hard watch.
Oh, I should have.
Should have wore it. This would have been an episode from episode 15 when we did Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah.
I gifted you all watches from your favorite movies.
Yep.
But
We'll never forget it.
he upgrades his watch in this film compared to the first one. He gets a Breitling Chronomat. So $2,000-$3,000 watch. It's not cheap. So as a police officer of New York City, maybe it was cheaper back in the day. But he wears it on the inside of his wrist, which is
badass.
I did notice that. I was proud of myself because I noticed a watch.
Look at you.
And I noticed it because it was turned the wrong way.
Yeah, the wrong side. So you put it on the inside if you're on military, or on your right hand if you're military for sure, because it's on your gut, your finger, your trigger hand.
Oh, that's cool.
So
I like
you
that.
keep it on the inside so you can keep time at all times, and then also it doesn't get banged up as you're working. But also it doesn't show the shine of the watch.
My God, I just learned
give away your
19
location.
things.
But yeah, there is actually, what's funny is there are countless scenes in this movie where they show that off. And then just one, when he's counting the quarters in the aqueduct, he's got a Rolex on, a blackface Rolex for no reason. So he must have just wore his Rolex to set, or somebody in the prop department just accidentally put on a blackface Rolex instead of. Yeah, but overall, that incredible film. The rewatchability of it, I'm still at an 81. I don't think I can bump it up too much higher because of the third act, but really, really enjoyed this one.
So I think for me, the biggest part was I just don't feel like this movie had much of a reason to exist other than to be eye candy. I don't think it really was saying anything new or saying anything at all. And I'm just going to kind of read some other action movies that I think had really strong messages and themes to sort of prove that you can make an action movie, but you can make it for a reason and to say something. Terminator 2, RoboCop, Total Recall, First Blood, Escape from New York, True Lies, Lethal Weapon, Mad Max Fury Road, The Dark Knight, Gladiator, The Rock, GoldenEye, Rush Hour, and The Matrix. These are all movies. Some may dabble to the science fiction. But these are all bona fide action movies, and they all have very strong themes and strong messages, and I just don't feel like Die Hard had those, and I think that's what took a lot away from the movie for me.
All right. But you still liked it.
I did like it, yeah.
All right, well, we had some fun talking about this one on this latest episode of Critical Mass with Brian and Gris and Ben and me, Nick. And we're going to do another episode, but before we talk about that other episode, we have discovered this new thing. It's called social media, and Gris knows all about it. He's going to talk about it.
Guys, we're on social media.
It's on the internet, right?
It's on the internet. It's Instagram.com/@criticalmesscrew. Go follow us.
Yes, you can also find us on MySpace and Vine.
MySpace and Vine.
Yes, Vine.
www.
And actually, criticalmesspodcast.com. You can find us there.
Oh, shit.
Dang. We're getting there.
And you know what's there? One single black screen with white text that says Critical Mess Podcast.
So, hey,
it's a start.
I feel like I could have coded
We're
that
getting
one.
close. We're getting real
We
close.
have procured the URL, and that is our new home.
so we're always threatening to do more episodes. We're going to do another episode. It's going to be episode number 38, I believe.
Wow.
The 38 special.
Wow.
And for that 38 special, we're
Should
going to
we
be
do Dirty
talking
Harry?
about, well, no, we should. We
Yeah.
should. But we're going to talk about something even better than Dirty Harry.
What?
We're going to talk about a little film called Madam Web.
Oh, yeah, it's a way better movie than Dirty Harry.
What is it? Well,
I have no idea.
maybe
You guys don't
we're
know
gonna
about Madam
find-
Web?
No, I don't.
I know a lot about what I'm
I've
excited.
just been told that's what we're doing. So
Madam Web.
that's what we're doing.
Starring our girl, Sydney Sweeney.
Sydney Sweeney.
She's done well for us in the past.
Penelope
She
Cruz.
has.
No.
Yeah.
She's gotten us quite a few listens.
Yeah.
So
So we love you, Sydney. Anytime you want to join us on the podcast, we'd love to have you.
we'd love to have
Fly
you.
on out to. We'll fly you out to Indiana.
Yep. Come on down here.
Yep.
No, we're doing that. We're doing that remote. I'm not
We'll
paying
figure
for
that out.
Sydney Sweeney to fly out.
Well, we've got Jepson's Malort.
Yeah, I'll give,
hey.
I hear that's her weakness.
I'll give you one shot of Jepson's Malort.
So anyway, we're gonna have some fun doing that. Talking a little Madam Web next time, and we'll see you then.
See ya.
Later.